pooping at my house. Everybody started 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 pooping at my house. What's going on? Why they pooping at my house? My house filled with poop because they pooping at my house. Oopty loopy loopy, gotta poop in my house. I gotta poop, so I do it at my house. You gotta poop, come over to my house. Gotta poop in my house, gonna poop in my house. I gotta take a big duke in my house. Poop in my house, hey, hey. Gotta poop in my house, hey, hey, hey. Everybody pooping, so they poop in my house. Everybody pooping, so they poop at my house. Gotta poop at his house. Poop at my house. Ben's gotta poop, so he poops at my house. Hey, poop in my house. Hey, poop in my house. Can't wait for you to poop in my house.
Oops came out a mouse.
Yep.
Oops came out a mouse? Oh my God.
When you pooped, a mouse came out?
Yeah.
Wow.
That never happened.
Do you want a different color on that light?
No, it's too late. We started. That was the intro, by the way.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's totally
No,
fine.
this is good. It's bright enough to where
Cool.
I think it's a good thing. Welcome, people who I know very well, to the Bending Brains podcast.
Buenos dias.
It's nice to have good friends, Matthew McNeal and Andre Black, who we've known each other for about 6 years.
Many years.
And thank you for having me here. We're here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been 6 days. But literally, it's been a week. Like,
Literally.
it's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've had some fun. We've done a lot. Went to some studios. Ate a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gained 10 pounds.
Good.
Can't wait to lose it when I get home.
There you go. Yeah.
It's the best, worst thing. I just keep building on it. Every day we have food. I'm just like, I'm going to keep eating more. I'll worry about it later.
Don't we all do that though? We'll just worry about it later.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that is a problem we do when we eat food. We just go, I'll worry about it later. But then later is like more food.
Yeah, you got to eat.
And then you just say it again. I'll just worry about it later.
And you tell yourself you got to eat, so it's okay.
We'll all die eventually. Just eat while you're here.
This is the best. We're having fruit, Topo Chico's, really good coffee from Craftwork, local Texas, Fort Worth.
Shout out Craftwork Coffee.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Topo Chico.
Shout out to fruit.
Actually, they Coca-Cola owns them, right?
Yes.
So no shout out. Screw you, Coca-Cola.
Well, but if,
hey,
Topo Chico is going to send me free Topo Chico, I'm not going to be mad at that.
We don't want to stamp out a sponsor too early, Ben.
Yeah.
You got a point. Ah, man, that's gonna make us be burping this whole time.
Be burping.
All right, let's get into this.
Let's go.
We are at Andre's portion of the Matt Black Sound Studios. Would you call it that?
We are.
What is this
Yeah.
wing called?
Yeah, it's an extension of Matt Black Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, very new. It's a newborn. I mean, we've been here we just moved into this house 2 weeks ago.
In its infancy.
Yeah.
We have multiple branches. We're expanding.
Franchising, if you will.
You have 3 locations now.
Where's the third
Where's
one?
the
The 2
third?
rooms in the one house.
Oh, that's one
Well,
location.
technically, we do have 3. We have the van.
The van is the mobile unit.
That's
Yeah.
true. You guys want to talk about Matt Black Sound a little bit, since we'll get into your music. That's how we know each other. But Matt Black Sound is more of
Sure.
the underlining of your lives.
Yeah,
It's where everything is and goes.
it is. It started as Andre and I have always done more than just like play music and go play shows. We've facilitated it all, from like the booking stuff to figuring out how to record and the full studio operations. Just the whole. We do all the music industry ourselves. Like that's how we facilitate our music and bring it to the world. And so we started a company that did all that, and we officially started in 2017. And yeah, we have a studio, and we try to empower artists and help them. We release music from projects we're a part of. Yeah, it houses all of our publishing, and we help with some film companies and produce some podcasts.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything that we can do.
A lot of bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. I relate.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to see people doing a little bit of everything too.
Yeah.
Understanding what that is. You learn a lot about different elements of sound and video, not just like, oh, I know how to like play music or record, but it's like, oh, I could put on a show, I could put on a bigger show, I can do a mobile thing, I can go to different studios and do it. I can collaborate with other people who do it. I know how to get on that page. I could do the podcast thing. It's pretty sweet to see. You guys got started in the music industry, not just through playing music, but the events you would do, being runners for events, right? Mm-hmm. How'd that all started? And if you want to explain to those listening what that is.
Yeah, there's a couple sides to it. In high school, Andre and I grew up together in a small town of like, I think 12,000 people at the time.
Yeah.
And I worked at a peach orchard during the summers in high school. And I ended up selling a bushel of peaches to a guy that was getting for Aerosmith. He knew I played music. We took a liking to each other. And he was like, hey, do you want to come do what I do and like help backstage at some of these shows? And I said, yeah. And so the August of 2010, I worked my first show. And first thing I did was like do John Mayer's dry cleaning and get them food.
That wasn't the name of his tour, John Mayer's dry cleaning.
No, that's just what I did. Nice. That was the Battle Studies tour, the second world tour of it. And it was fantastic. And like standing side stage watching an artist that Battle Studies record meant a lot to me. At the time, it was new, and getting to see that from side stage and seeing how everything worked was really inspiring. We had always played music together and helped put on like DIY punk shows in this like little small venue in our town, and that really opened my eyes to how big that world was and how much goes into everything. It's not just like I play guitar and sing and I just appear at venues all over the world and people care. There's so much that goes into it. And so I did that constantly. Like I just worked those shows as much as I could. And then we started touring and just using everything we've learned from seeing how these like biggest tours in the world work behind the scenes and applying that to what we do and how to share that knowledge and help others. Yeah.
And how did you get into this?
So I always knew that Matt did that. I got involved, I guess, in 2017, 2018. Started doing shows as a runner, kind of opening my eyes to that side of the industry and seeing how it worked. And I mean, obviously I'd heard stories from Matt and, a bunch of crazy stuff and like, oh, had to do this, had to, worked with this artist. And I was like, oh, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to do that. And so, yeah, we, started doing it together then. And obviously, because of COVID, there was none of that going on in 2020. Haven't done any yet this year in 2021, but hopefully the end of this year in the fall, we'll start back up doing that.
Yeah, it's looking like...
like September?
Yeah, it's going to start in August, it seems. Yeah. And it's looking like September and October are going to be like slammed.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Like everybody's on the road.
I agree. That's all I've been seeing. I bought 3 concert tickets already, October, November.
Yeah.
I'm putting on DZ Fest, which you guys have been a part of for a while. Mm-hmm. In September, all the festivals in Chicago are September. So people like you guys who are in the industry of being runners, putting on events, hosting events, making them happen, have been affected tremendously the last 15 months, 14 months,
right,
as I have been. And I'm glad that it's coming back. It's been
Me too. Me too.
It's been weird. It's been like a weird, humbling experience. It really put in perspective how amazing it is, the things we do, and how lucky we are to be able to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you guys, through Matt Black Sound, you started putting on your own events, right? You've been doing doing the running, but through Matt Black Sound.
No, it's through a different company.
Different company.
Different business, yeah.
We're involved with another business.
Oh, is it like you guys, they just outsource to you or you just work for them?
We started
We own it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You're being so cryptic. I'm not sure if you don't want to talk about it.
No. I mean, it's just a different thing.
It's called Roadrunner Production Services.
Right.
And that's what handles all the runner side of things.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And Matt Black Sound is a different branch. We try to separate the...
Have to draw lines.
Yeah. We do everything. And so if it's just one... Like, if one thing covers it all, it kind of the lines get blurred. So
Right.
Matt Black
That feels
Sound, yeah, oh yeah. So Matt Black Sound is all things like studio and like recordings and helping artists, booking stuff, doing audio for like film
and
stuff.
television. Yeah, it's a
Anything.
pretty big umbrella in itself.
Everything that we handle the audio on and like sound and creative on is Matt Black Sound, and then Roadrunner is helping facilitate these large scale shows. behind the
Okay,
scenes.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. Well, let's backtrack for the listeners to now the music side of things, because we'll go back to what we're talking about. It'll
Yeah.
find its way in. But you guys met in grade school,
Yeah, early.
and you're a year older than Andre. And so when did you start playing music together? Because you guys have been playing music on your own for a long time, right?
When we were teenagers, when we were obviously, I guess we started playing music together in church.
We both were involved in that like small DIY spot, putting on shows, and we also attended the same church, and we were like the music leader people there for
And you played drums there, and you played guitar?
Yes.
And what, 14, 15?
I think, 14, 15. That's right.
And when did you start playing music like together, like you two?
sometimes some of the like that power duo set we do, like we do on the road, there were some times where we would do that
Yeah.
in the church format.
Yeah.
We always kind of did things our own way, and then I think we would realize just from like rehearsals, we always knew we liked the same stuff,
Right.
and we were always really close. So it was a no brainer to just keep that going. I think when since I'm a year older, I went off to college, and that year we just started talking about like, let's maybe do like our own thing, because we were in bands and stuff in high school,
Yeah.
but we never were like, cool, let's do the like Matthew McNeal project. That was
Right. I think we started doing that when we were probably like 18, 19 or 19, 20 together.
So almost 10 years.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
That's wild to think about.
That is really
I
wild.
haven't ever thought about that, honestly.
Almost
haven't
10
either.
years.
That's crazy.
And did you always want to do just the duo? Just guitar, drums, you?
That's a logistical necessity is why it started. It's easier
Yeah.
to tour with two, like
You don't have to pay more than two people.
You can
50-50.
travel with two people. We own everything. We co-write everything.
Right.
And I mean, now we're at a point to where we bring our studio buddies in, and like our mentors, the people we learn from, we bring them in, and we can actually facilitate that now. Like for the bigger shows, it just makes more sense. But when you're starting off and you're like, I don't want to be this like local band and do the normal thing. I want to start touring the country and meeting people and seeing it for myself and doing it my way. It's much easier to say, hey, let's get a van and turn it into like a little apartment for two people, and we're both in this 100%,
Yeah, let's just do it.
rather than having to convince somebody else to join this.
And convince them to augment their schedule to do it.
To give up their life.
Exactly.
To make this their life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was
we were in
never
it.
there was never any question about that with either of us. So
That's rare. It's hard to find somebody that is on the same page with.
very rare.
It's a really big decision to make.
Yeah,
I think about it all the time with the bands that I play in, and just like to go that extra step. Would people be willing to quit their jobs or careers to make that their job or career?
Yeah.
and how can you ask somebody to do that when you're like, hey, there's no money in it right now. There's no guarantee for anything. I don't even know what it looks like. We're just going to start booking 100 shows a year across the country, places we've never been, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask
Insane.
somebody. Yeah.
It takes an insane person.
Yeah.
But honestly,
It's calculated insanity.
it is. It's of the entrepreneur, go-getter, workaholic mentality. People
Yeah.
who fall into that vein.
Right.
A little crazy, smarter, to be honest, because you have to be smart to pull it off. You can't just
Absolutely.
willy-nilly going across the country to survive.
Yeah, there's a lot to analyze there.
Yeah, you got to break. It's a whole thing to break down.
It's like being intentionally free form. Like,
Right.
you're like, I'm intentionally open for whatever to happen. I'm just going to keep pressing go and looking forward and learning and growing. And
Like today.
Yeah.
Like everything that happened today, like why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
At this time, like all of it is stuff that you and all three of us are so used to.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Part of every day, man.
yeah, it's like, well, if that's going to happen, I might as well optimize on this because you got to work around that. And
Yeah.
it's probably why the other two companies that you guys are doing work so well and why you're so good at it is all the years of going on the road, seeing shows, seeing events, talking to people.
Absolutely.
audibles,
Yeah,
constantly
audibles,
changing.
cars breaking down, things happening. You know, a branch hitting your van when it's with the heat going out. Everything.
Everything.
It's always something.
It's always something. Especially when you take on a lot, that something gets amplified.
Yeah.
And the chances of things going wrong are much larger when you're balancing and juggling so many, avenues. So it's the early 2010s. You guys form your band. I'm going to go back, segue to that.
Yeah.
And when did your first record, Compadre, comes out in 2015. So those first 4 years, are you working on that material? Are you working on EPs? Or are you just trying to figure out your place?
So I went to college. I graduated high school in 2011. I went to college, and I was writing. I'd always been writing my own material aside from the bands I was in, and I put together like my first, like, it wasn't like a studio album, but a buddy of mine, Ben Starr, we just made a recording, like 10 songs at his place, and engineered them, mixed them and everything ourselves, put it on a CD. And I went on like my first tour type thing I ever did that was like out of state. I did that when I was 20 with our buddy Connor Oakley. And right after coming back from that was right when that album came out in 2013. It's called When You're Down. It's not streaming or anything. We just have a bunch of like CDs.
And that was
A bunch of CDs.
Matthew McNeal
Yeah,
recording.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I didn't know this.
I know. Yeah. And so I have I have about 300 CDs.
I'm gonna get them in on vinyl.
I can give them all to you.
Give them all to you, please.
That was 2013, and yeah, I was like, cool. Well, let's keep this thing going. Well, it's all just learning, and we teamed up, like found some buddies in Denton, Joey McClellan and Mackenzie Smith at Redwood Studios, where we were on Friday. We tapped them and said we want to do a full-length record here, and so we booked 10 days there with them.
In between this happening, Matt and I linked up and decided we're going to do music together.
Yeah, Andre we had always recorded ourselves to some capacity. Andre's always been better at it, and so
Quote unquote.
he had a studio space thing at his spot. So we would just rehearse all the time and play and write, and we did that from 2000, and we had dabbled in it beforehand, but heavily from like 2013. And then we recorded Compadre in 2014.
Yeah.
Put Compadre out in 2015, and throughout 14, starting in 14, started playing around and like regionally and stuff, and then that quickly turned into like national independent.
When was your first tour outside of Texas?
The one that we did together.
Mm-hmm.
Connor and I did it in 2013. You and I did it in 2014. 14.
Yeah. Yeah, because we started touring, regionally playing shows with songs from Compadre before we even recorded them.
Yeah, we did. And then national stuff was more 2015.
Right.
So the first time when I first met you in May 2015,
First time we'd ever flown
That was,
out
yeah,
of state for a show.
exactly.
you flew for that one.
Yeah.
We
Where-
did Day Trotter and DZ. And
How did you rent a car?
Yeah, we did.
When we got up there.
Right, because I remember when you came through, it was really interesting, that story. I was doing sessions, so DZ Records was like 5 years old, and I was doing video sessions for 2 years, and Friends of Music podcast for 3 years. And that would have been the fourth DZ Fest coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Bauer, my cousin, who we did Friends of Music with, was like, Benj, there's this band from Texas that wants to do a session. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, yes to everything. I don't think I've ever said no. So yes to everything. And and you guys came through, and I believe I might have been working with a band while you guys showed up.
Yeah, we were with Matt.
And Matt was like, they're outside, they're here. And I was like, go entertain them. I'm like talking to somebody. Like, I'm still working with this band. So he went outside to talk to you guys. And you came down. Once the band left, you came down. You had like a blue long sleeve shirt on, the white hat. Your hair was long. Andre had long black hair, slicked back with a red flannel. Red and black
Still
flannel.
have that shirt.
I still have the blue shirt.
I remember it very well for some reason. And you guys showed up and you looked down. You looked around. You guys like looked like you've never. You looked like you just came out of like a cave and saw daylight in my own dark basement. You're like, somewhere within moments you said, "Is this what all basements are like?"
Well, yeah, that was our first time in a basement.
It was your first time in a
Never
basement.
seen something like that before.
And it was
We're just
my
small town
basement.
kids.
Yeah. Well, but also there was such a nostalgia about it because I think it reminded us both of growing up and doing a DIY, being a part of a DIY music community.
Yeah.
And we were like, wow, this
It's
is
here
cool,
too. We're like
man.
1,000 miles from home.
Yeah. I just can imagine that's your first basement ever. It's that basement. It's not a normal basement. So it's just really funny. And you guys were like, you were like little small town kids. You're just like kids in a candy shop. Like, whoa.
Uncultured.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah.
No, that was fun. And you guys killed it. And I'll never forget it. I remember Wash My Wounds and Little Star, Texas Flag. Those are the two videos we did. And afterwards, when we did the podcast, Matt interviewed you guys. And there's a good chance that I was sitting on the couch hanging out or maybe on the patio waiting. Those are the two things that would happen. But ever since then, we've worked together on stuff and
We've become great friends.
great friends.
I think we've been up there like 15,
a lot
of times.
20 times.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Sometimes you fly, sometimes you drive. You're new, or now it's not as new anymore, but when you got your first van, that was...
Second van.
I meant like first, like real,
Yeah.
like legit.
The first one doesn't count.
Yeah, we pay homage to.
When your second van, the newer one, when you first brought it, I was so happy to see that. It's so cool and a game changer, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And just to see you guys tour around the country. I mean, you've been touring, aside from 2020, which will forever be a weird gap in everyone's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 5 years, you guys toured around the country, the whole country, right?
All the time.
Like
Coast to
you've
coast.
done every north, south, east, west, central, everything.
Yeah.
Is there any places you haven't played that you would like to play in America besides Hawaii and Alaska?
No, I'd like to spend more time in California.
Yeah.
The West Coast is harder to tour. The states are further apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more to cover.
Yeah, we've done the West Coast the least.
That's the common thing I hear from many bands.
Yeah, it's
Too big.
Yeah, it's great. It's phenomenal, but it's just harder logistically. And when you run your own logistics, every little it's not cutting corners. It's just like, well, especially teaming up with DZ. Okay, you guys are in the northern Midwest, so we figured out a route through the Midwest super easy. We have a fantastic Midwest and Southeast route that we would just hammer, and then we do East Coast. When we could, and West Coast.
East Coast is pretty sweet too.
East Coast is sweet.
So close to each other.
Yeah.
Every hour you're like in another major city.
Yeah,
Midwest has been our bread and butter though.
Yeah.
I think that's
Midwest and
everyone's bread and butter.
Southeast.
That's what I've been learning. I learned it from you guys. And a lot of touring bands, I ask them these questions, which helps me gauge it better to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's that if you can go be in any major city within 4 or 5 hours, which is anywhere from Chicago, there's like 20 cities within 5 hours.
Well, there's a lot of people too. A lot of people that love music. So
And there's not, it's not LA where there's 300 clubs with an event every night. You go to Des Moines, there's 2 main clubs and they don't have shows every day of the week. So it's little things like that. Like one of the coolest music communities we found, I know this is not in the heart of the Midwest by any means, but like in Minnesota.
yeah,
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
St. Paul has an amazing scene. I mean, it's like, it's right up there near you. I mean, it's not right by it,
It's
but
like
when
6 hours, right?
touring, it's easy,
Yeah.
But same thing with like Davenport, Iowa.
Yeah.
Incredible
Day Trotter
music.
and-
It's like 3 hours
Raccoon
from Chicago.
Motel. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's great stuff up there, and I think the culture up there appreciates music in a different way because they don't have every artist any night of the week.
Right.
Like New York would.
We also it's just big enough but small enough, and also suffers enough with the winter to where like music is such a huge thing in the winter. Like there's really obvious seasons of when bands do certain things and when shows happen more in Chicago. And the winter is just abundance of productivity because everyone's inside practicing, getting songs ready because they can't go out. And there's a lot of shows, and which is like the practice of trying out your work.
Yeah.
And then in the spring, there's just a massive boom. And then the heat from the summer slows things down because people are like, I don't want to tour in July.
It's hot.
Yeah.
I don't want to be playing shows in a club in July in a basement.
That's when we go to Minneapolis.
Right.
Yeah, you go as far north as you can go.
It gets
Get
real
out
hot
of Texas.
here. Yeah.
So you guys are like, yeah, let's tour. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Where we're from, it's like, it's too hot. Where you're from, you're like, let's get away from this heat. Even though it's hot up there, it's not as hot as it is down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have done tours in the summer a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. How many shows would you, in those 5 years, how many shows on average would you play a year? Like 100, 200?
Yeah. Close to 100.
Yeah. Sometimes being over.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, we kept our head down. I mean, we were.
Yeah, that was our life, like truly.
Like, I mean, it would be like 6 to 8 months out of the year, just like going.
What's that like on like for your personal lives? To be on the road all the
It's
time.
difficult. I mean, we're both very fortunate to have very understanding and willing partners that are very happy with the way that we have with our lifestyle, and I mean, they're more than supportive of it.
Sure.
We've also built those relationships
For years.
with this in mind. Like this was always kind of part of the deal
Exactly.
from day one. We knew what we wanted to do since we were kids.
And you were transparent with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were gonna,
Yeah,
if you're gonna hang with me, this is what it entails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't ever like, well, you know what? We decided to do this thing, and so we're just going to leave now.
Yeah.
It was always understood from the start.
Yeah. And that's an important conversation to have.
Yeah, it is.
That's mature. 'Cause
Communication.
you guys are younger. For those listening, when you started out, like like that first record, the one that no one knows about, you're 20 years old.
I
you
was
know.
19
19.
or something. Yeah, something like that.
Andre is a year younger.
Our first tour, we were. Andre was 20.
I couldn't even drink legally. Yeah.
You're almost 21.
Yeah.
You're right, 20, and you're 21. Yeah, when you guys came through, when I found out, it might have been when you left or something, that you just turned 21 and you were 22.
Yeah.
And I was, 25. I was just like, what? Because you
Yeah.
guys seem so much older, especially you, Andre. I thought you were like 29.
Yeah.
You haven't
I'm-
aged a day.
Yeah.
You spent 29 for 8 years. Yeah, you guys
Feels
just,
like it.
you're
I'll
so
take
much
it.
like you guys are big, filled in. You got facial hair. You got like well seasoned like faces, but not like old, just like not baby faces.
It
either.
comes from not sleeping
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah,
you know.
traveling, the
Yeah.
100-something shows a year, living in a van, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man, we have a lot in common when it comes to traveling. Like I love to travel and road trip. Like I did it here alone, and
It's the best.
it's so much fun. The music, a podcast, just conversation. Sometimes you don't listen to anything, you just talk. One of my fondest road trips was in Texas, going across Texas to West Texas.
Deep.
And I think everybody in the van was like wanted, if they had a gun with them, they would shoot Matt and I because I was sitting shotgun and you were driving. And I think we literally spewed nonsense for like
All
5-6 hours straight.
You have to. Yeah.
Delirium is my favorite state. Me and Andre are very much like thrive on that. We'll book a 6-week tour, and then delirium sets in on day 3, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
Here we go.
Sometimes hour 2. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
And you live in a different world. I mean, there's times where by the end of the tour, we wake up at 2 p.m. every day, and we go to bed at
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
I learned that the fun way with you guys because
Yeah.
like you guys would come over on tour and maybe make it like a 3-4 day stop at my house, and I would be on my schedule and you guys would just be staying up so late.
Yeah.
And then I'd like want to like have breakfast or make you coffee, and
We
you
would
guys
say
come
no.
out of the van or something or off the couch at like noon.
It's lunchtime.
1, and I'm just like, I don't know what they're doing. I'm not gonna bother them. But
Yeah.
like, what is going on? Are they okay?
Yeah.
It's got to be hard because if you want to explain to people listening who aren't in the music industry, it's like the comedy industry. Like you work at night, and sometimes you're pretty late, and sometimes you're putting your gear, you're in your van and closing it, and it's 2 a.m.
And then we drive.
And
we
then you
usually
gotta drive
drive at
somewhere.
night.
Yeah, because
Less
it's
traffic.
safer. It's safer.
Ironically safer. Yeah. Less people on the road.
We also don't. Yeah, to preface, we don't drink a lot on the road, so we're not like inebriated and then driving.
And you guys don't drink a lot,
No.
period.
Yeah.
Which is probably beneficial for the lifestyle.
Yeah, I
It'll
only
weigh you
drink when
down.
I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, or just relaxing on a weekend.
Yeah, just hanging out with friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you got to be smart about it. How do musicians do it? Touring the country just on drugs and alcohol.
Well, they don't run their own logistics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They have someone who drives for them, which is, I mean, that's luxury for sure. I'm not bashing that, but I mean, we don't do that.
But yeah, and I mean, a lot of this was going to be the case either way. But like, when you realize what you have to do to facilitate your dreams and your goals, you're like, yeah, it comes with. Some people would see it as a sacrifice. You're like, cool. Well, we don't really drink, and we're not home a lot, and you really have to have great communication with your friends and family.
Yeah.
We didn't see our loved ones as much as everybody else got to.
Right.
And that's a sacrifice. And yeah, the alcohol thing was just one of them, a very willing one to give up for us. So
Yeah. Yeah. And just the little things, like going out with your friends on a Friday to go
Right.
to go to the bar, to go bowling, to go see a movie, all those things you don't do. Do you find yourselves ever like getting under each other's skin in any way, or do you have just such an open mindset you just know?
Yeah, we don't ever get into arguments I mean, sure, we have different opinions usually, but I think we pick our battles and realize this isn't an important thing.
And that'll happen, honestly, that'll happen more around the studio at home than on the road. On the road, we become the same. We're just the same person.
Yeah.
And
it makes life a lot easier, honestly.
I've noticed that.
you just have two of yourself, and you're like, I fully trust this person. They fully trust me.
Yeah.
We can communicate without even talking from playing so much.
Yeah, you guys have a bond that most people don't get. You spend day and night together. You sleep with each other. You're under the same pressures, the same smells.
Yeah.
You know, the
Same
same
food.
food, and then you do a creative thing together, which is, for those who don't know, if I could paint a good picture, and you guys can let me know how accurate this is. When you play music with someone for a long time, the bond it brings to you because of having rhythm, melody, melodic structures, lyrics that bond you through language, moments where things synchronize and you get empowered in a space through amplification, the crowd giving you feedback. It's like hearing people look at you and give you feedback if you're in any other situation. It's kind of like something that like only a partner would feel with another person, like a type of, besides just romance, you literally are feeling everything amplified.
Yeah. It's a connection, and it's interesting because it's your like creative fulfillment, your passion, your livelihood, your everything. It's like
A hobby, it's everything.
yeah, and so it's a really fascinating thing. It's really, really strange for me to, we try to empower artists, any artist we can. We try to be like pillars for our community, but it's impossible to show or to explain our success or growth or whatever without pointing to the fact that there's two of us.
Yeah, that's the only reason it happens.
That connection, that communication, and it's not like we just found somebody else and we're like, cool. I mean, that you can totally do that, but we have a really unique story where it's like we've been watering this seed for 15 years.
Yeah.
And so
that's what you see. That's why there's such a bond. Like it's so unspoken at this point. Like we don't have to talk about it. We're aware,
That's what makes a good relationship.
Yeah.
A good friendship. Having that, 15 years of friendship, planting a seed, 10 years of playing music, 5 years of maybe about 6 years, 7 years now of touring, and then all the other stuff you do together, the business stuff, people you've met. Like we met each other at the same time. Like when I think of one of you, I think of both of you.
yeah, that's usually
I literally say like, man, Andre, like it's like it just comes off the tongue, And it's been interesting relationship and bond to form because we're very similar. Like if we lived near each other, we'd be very, like we'd hang out all the time.
All the time.
We'd probably have a lot more collaborations, honestly. And it's cool to see. It's cool to see other people around the country doing music in this way. You realize we have a lot more in common, like people do,
Yeah.
than you would think.
It's so cool.
It is.
It's very cool.
Have you guys met a lot of other bands around the country that you like kind of work with too? Like when they come through, you try to hook them up with stuff, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
not on this level though.
oh, okay,
Not like we know you know.
yeah,
yeah, you also have to think it goes beyond. I mean, yeah, we have some creative projects together in the form of like Afterglows. Yeah, we have a lot of collaboration from the DZ Record stuff and then the Mad Black Sound stuff. That's a deeper connection than just like, yeah, we met this other band on the road and now we just help each other out all the time.
Right.
We have
We do
tons
that,
of those.
Yeah.
But this isn't to belittle those relationships by any means, but there's a different thing here because you're also operating a business and facilitating the logistics for so much more than just like
Right.
coming and playing your guitar. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
come down here, you don't play a show.
Yeah.
You're down here for a different reason. But everybody else that we help and collaborate with from like out of state, they're coming here to do their thing, and then we do everything we can to amplify that for them.
Yeah.
Although I have played one show once at this fancy hotel, the Jewel
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was
That's
with Wedding
right.
Band,
wedding band. One of the best.
Not
things
band.
ever. Not band.
not band,
Band.
band,
Wedding band.
Wedding band.
You're banned from the wedding.
Yeah,
Man, I want to be in a wedding band like once every year. Just it'd be fun.
Wedding Band. You're in Wedding Band. We
Oh,
just
yeah,
got to
we-
get more gigs.
Yeah, we didn't tell you, but we're looking for gigs.
But we only play Rupert Holmes songs like Answering Machine.
And it's all unrehearsed. So
People listening have no idea what we're talking about. Right?
that's okay. They
they
don't
weren't
need,
at the wedding.
It's gonna happen a lot.
yeah, they don't need to. It's not for them.
They have you guys ever tried to do anything internationally?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've got friends in Sweden that we've been trying to see for a while. Shout out Indigo Farah. Yeah, there's friends in Spain.
Yeah.
Shout out Joanna Surratt. Yeah, we've wanted to go to Europe for a long time. A lot of our like good friends, people we surround ourselves with, and mentors, they're all musicians that have found greater success in Europe than in the States in a lot of cases, and
Yeah.
so that's been really inspiring to us. It's just it's harder to facilitate when you have like we have Mad Black Sound and we have Roadrunner,
Yeah.
and we had everything teed up, and then the pandemic happens. It's like, okay, well, so let's
Kind of have to reassess.
yeah, you kind of have to
You know.
incorporate it into like a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year plan.
You
Yeah.
almost have to. Do you feel yourself not restarting or starting over, but taking many steps backwards and having to go back again?
It's interesting because I've been thinking about this a lot as the world is starting to open back up, which means a big change of pace for us. Just as we had a big change of pace when
Right.
everything shut down. It's not a cool, now we have to go back and like retrace our steps. So much has changed. You
Yeah.
know, we've changed what we do, how we do it, our outlook and perspective in life and in music. It's at a different space. I think we've managed to facilitate a lot of growth over the past 15 months. And yeah, I think when it opens back up, it's not going to be like, people ask us, when are we going to tour again? And it's like, well, not day one. I'm not like
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Since we plan everything out and we have so many irons in the fire, it's like, well, we can like let the bands that are chomping at the bit and have nothing else going on, like all they do is go play shows. Cool, go out there and man, we'll help make it great.
Right.
And we're gonna keep recording and keep helping artists and keep doing our thing. And yeah, we'll see you on the road next year.
Yeah.
2022. That's no problem.
2022 is going to be a really big year for touring
It will be.
Yeah.
because it's only going to really happen at the very tail end of 2021, and it'll be very spotty.
Yeah.
Like there's just not enough space, not enough venues.
When you also have to realize that it takes 6 months to book a good tour.
Yeah.
4 months, people are like, oh yeah, when it starts back up, it's like, well, these shows, this past 15 months has really changed things. But a lot of times it's like any show at like a large capacity room, like the place where the Bulls play or the place where the Mavericks play, that's booked, 20 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so when everything stops, you have like a 3-year disruption of logistics.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, and so everybody kind of had to reset and figure it out. We're so small scale, we're really agile.
Definitely.
And that's a big strength for us in the independent world. And so, we're going to do regional stuff and use everything we've learned to do things in a new and better way. It's a different world on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So let's adapt.
Mm-hmm. Have you found that because you're in a two-piece band and you guys can tour a lot more fluently that way, it's a little bit less resistance? Do you find that, like, how do crowds handle two-piece band? Because there's a lot of, sometimes people see two-piece band, they're like, oh, it's not full enough, it's not thick enough. Like, how do you guys combat that, being a two-piece band and touring the country at different types of crowds?
Matt plays through 3 different amplifiers.
Yeah, we do it differently.
It sounds like a full band.
Yeah, we try to, I think going back to our connection, I think it's pretty visible even if you don't know who we are. Like if you just walk into a club and you see us playing, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like these guys are like the same human. And I've, over the years, we've augmented, like, how do we make it from being like, oh, this is like a lesser thing than a full band, to how can we capture somebody's attention and mind and heart and soul, whatever their ears, and make them look at things differently. And so by like running through a bass amp and 2 or 3 guitar amps with different effect signals, and
we also just like play very dynamically, and we'll obviously play to the crowd, play to the room that's there in front of us. But, try and like break down the wall of what people think they're about to see and make it an actual experience rather than just a rock and roll show or whatever you came for. You know?
Well, that's what's great about the two-piece band and the way we communicate is like we can play at a punk club and go crazy, and we don't even have to tell each other about it. Like it'll just happen. We'll feed on the energy together, or we'll play at like the Woody Guthrie Museum, super intimate, super soft, and we'll play there and do it completely differently, same songs. And we get to change that to the spirit of the room without having to like tap all 8 people on stage and be like, hey, no, you're not doing it right. Or like, there's too much bass or too much this. So I don't know, we just approach it differently. And it's also hard when we have like really, probably impossibly high standards sometimes, since we have such a deep connection. That it's like, okay, well, we want to do some full band stuff. And like, just like you saw the other day, it's like, well, I can't get Joey because he's doing late night tonight. And then he's going on this world tour for 3 weeks. And then Aaron's also on this world tour with some other artists. And so it's like, well, those are our guys. We're not ones to be like, yeah, we have this amazing thing, and then we're going to just find these hired guns we don't know.
Yeah, get whoever. Yeah.
We're a family. All the people we collaborate with, you included, are part of this family, and that's the people that we're going to use to elevate our thing. And that family grows, through the people we connect with and meet and play with, and it's exciting. But so as much as we've been seen as like, oh, it's a two-piece band, it's like, well, it's actually we have a huge band. We just don't show it all the time.
Yeah, it comes through on your records a lot. Like you publicly have 3 records: Compadre, Good Luck, Good Grief, and they've progressed a lot, not just musically or what you introduce, but how big it gets from song to song. Some songs you guys go from like acoustic, calm, subtle, or piano to like 60 tracks, like a big orchestral piece, with a lot of stuff, a lot of slide, pedal steel, 3 electrics, acoustics, pianos, drums, percussion, auxiliary, many harmonies.
Right.
Almost like the beginning of Good Luck, that the vocal chorus of like "Baby Leave It Light On," like how many people are singing on that?
Almost 4 or 5
Stacked.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot. Did you do multiple
Yeah.
tracks?
Multiple
Because I would say it
stacks.
seemed like more than 4 or
Yeah,
5.
each person had a stack
Right.
or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we may have also just, I think we put out a mic and just, we
Yeah,
all
that's-
yelled around
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
Some good moments. I've done that a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
You just get there's been times at the house a band will be recording. They're like, we want to have like a crowd like chanting this with us. So I go upstairs. I find 12 people.
Nice. Yeah.
Everyone come downstairs. They're half drunk, stoned. Everyone come downstairs real quick.
Yeah.
Put a mic in the center on Omni. I'd be like, all right, just follow my hand. When you see me do this, just say like, nah.
Right.
And then I do it, and they all do it, and then they leave, and yeah, we just record. We did
Yeah.
it. Do that 4 times. Boom.
Yeah.
I got 40 people singing.
And the result is incredible.
Yeah, you're
usually.
like, what?
Yeah.
It's fun. That's been my favorite thing of recording music.
Yeah.
The little things, the nuances that nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're the engineer, producer, or the main composer, there's so many fun behind the scenes things that no one knows. Like on Friday, for those listening, we were at a really cool studio, Redwood, and there was 8 people in that room,
Yeah.
and I was the only one in the control room. And I was listening to everyone, rock out and stuff, and hearing the banter in between, hearing what everyone's doing, when people wouldn't get apart, when they did, when it came together, when it fell apart. Most of the time it just came together. Each take got more and more tight because everyone was phenomenal musicians, honestly. But being there, and then there's a take where I'm just using the bathroom, which is really funny. So whatever take you use, I'm either using the bathroom or writing a poem. But that's the fun stuff that I'm talking about. Like when that comes out and I see that video on Cinderblock, it's like I was writing a poem inspired by the lyrics that you or Joey wrote, or I was taking a dump listening to the lyrics that you and Joey wrote. Like either way, it's really fun and natural and humanistic of me like to do such a thing. I don't know. It's just like those are the things I think about when you go back on a recording, when I go back and look at a video we did in the basement, and you guys playing a show. Whenever you guys are playing an intimate evening, we get all of our friends come.
Yeah.
Like you guys always bring like 30 of the close friends.
All of your friends.
Some of my favorite shows, it's like we're playing in the basement till like 80 people, and you're like,
packed.
oh my God.
It's packed, man.
It's hot and it's packed.
It's an experience for sure. It's electric.
Yeah.
It's great.
And DZ Fest too. I mean, you guys have played that 4 times, which is crazy to think about.
It's wild to say. Yeah.
I can't wait for the next one.
Same.
It's funny when you said like big venues and big stadiums will book 20 months in advance, and I'm realizing that now talking to bands for DZ Fest, and the ones that are international or too far in the country, we're like, well, we'll play next year. I'm like, that's 15 months away, and I already have like international bands booked for 15 months away. You guys for 15 months away. It's like, yeah, when you scale up, you realize like, yeah, it is way in advance. It's such an industry. There's so much foresight that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's a logistical nightmare.
And it's all packaged to look effortless.
Yeah.
Right.
And then people show up and they're like, why do I have to pay $20? It's like,
You don't understand what went into this. And it
15
was
months.
$20. Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like on the runner stuff, people are like, it's an interesting topic, but it's like, man, why are tickets $60 a piece? And it's like, well, there's 300 people backstage that are putting this thing together. Like you don't
And-
understand what's going on.
And it doesn't skip a beat. If there's a problem, it doesn't matter.
You
They'll
will
handle
never
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been really fun stuff backstage, just to see like the days where it's like, there's no problem at all. This is well-oiled machine. And other
Right.
times you're like, this is the worst thing.
It's a nightmare.
But no one on the outside knows.
yeah.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, throwing hammers over a stage while one band's playing.
Yeah.
What a crazy
That happened.
logistical, chaotic experience.
It's in the video too.
It's in video.
Shout out Rain.
Shout out Rain. And a lot of people, for those who don't know what we're talking about, DZ Fest 2019 that McNeal and Andre played, it was the hottest one we ever had, and it rained both days. And while one band was playing on one stage, the other stage was like water was pouring down, getting on all the gear,
Putting trash bags on
putting
microphones.
trash bags on everything. The video we have of that is amazing. Lung.
Yeah, Lung.
So cool.
Yeah.
And she's like singing, screaming, playing electric cello, saying it's like burning down quick, and water's just pouring on everything, and everyone's running around putting bags. The camera people are like laughing. No one knows what to film.
It's incredible.
It's crazy. And they finish, and Little Church goes up, and we're all behind the crowd just I'm throwing hammers attached to ropes to have weight to carry the tarp over the stage.
Yeah.
And like that's going on while they're performing. And if you're, drinking in front row watching the band, you wouldn't know that 200 feet behind you, like that's happening. And then they turn around for the next band and the band's ready to play. Salmar is ready to go. Or okay. And you're just like, okay, that worked. And
lightning in a bottle, though. That's one of the more recent. I mean, we've been aware of this for a long time. Anytime you make music, it's like, it's the human element is what makes it so great. But 28, been doing this, at least semi-professionally for like 10 years to some degree, And you start to realize it's like, it's these moments of things not being perfect or right. It's those little imperfections. It's those moments in the recordings. It's those moments in friendships.
Yeah.
It's
all that's the good stuff. That's the whole point of it. That's
what you remember. You never remember the perfect stuff.
Yeah.
No. We have them captured kind of like a video or the record. When I put on your vinyl, like that, to me, that's like the perfect stuff. To me, because I listen to it, and you guys know the imperfections in the record, but like I'm just listening to it as a music lover.
Right.
And it's the having conversations like this behind the scenes when we talk about the stuff. When there's a van issue, when a show isn't going right, when it's raining, when stuff's not working right, when your guitar is finicky, so you have to borrow someone else's. When you play a show and there's 3 people in the crowd, but then you play another show and there's 300.
Yeah.
Those are that's the stuff that makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's
the best.
It's hard to explain to those who don't do it.
Yeah, it's like why we do it.
Yeah,
I mean, truly.
When they go like, I don't understand like how you do that. Or why do you do it? Is it worth the money? And you're like, money's nice and it's important, but if you can make just enough to get by, what if that varies from person to person? People have different standards, but when you make just enough to get by, and you're happy.
Yeah.
It's almost like you'd be crazy to do anything else.
Yeah, I get to do everything. I get to facilitate my dreams. I'm like, it's nothing is single-handedly, but single-handedly in terms of our camp being a single unit.
Right.
We facilitate our dreams, and we facilitate how much money goes in the bank.
Yeah.
And we facilitate how much art we do. When you can be the one in control, you're like, I'm not gonna let me down. Andre's not gonna let him down. We're not gonna let each other down.
Right. So why would we stop doing this?
Yeah. It's our thing from the beginning has been like to the top. Like not to be like, oh, we're gonna be the next like Michael Jackson, like the whole world fawns over us. It's not about that. It's just like let's
keep doing this.
Keep persist and grow and learn and love and
because that's a very open-ended thought. Like let's just keep doing it. But at the same time, we know what that means. We don't have to talk about it. We're just like, let's keep it going. Like,
well, is it why you started doing the other companies to like, so you can be heavily involved in music, learn a lot about it, but still have another base of steady income besides trying to play shows?
Absolutely.
Because
our whole thing is like,
it just made sense.
Yeah, and when opportunity knocks, you open the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
absolutely,
a lot of this stuff has fallen into. We weren't like, man, let's start producing podcasts. We were just like, oh, opportunity came up.
Let's do it. Let's
and we
figure
got good
out how
at
to do
it.
it.
And then other people came, and then same thing with like I'd been a runner since 2010, and then 2019 we're like, well, let's start our own company.
Yeah,
and we can be the ones in charge.
That's funny that you started your first one in August 2010. You know why that's funny?
That's when you had the great awakening within yourself.
Yeah, and that's when I started. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's when I started DZ Records in August 2010.
Yeah,
wow,
that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Small world.
Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, literally August 2010. I put up that door and threw a carpet on the ceiling, and called it that. And it didn't go well.
Is that a euphemism?
Carpet on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Black Keys song, isn't it? Carpet on the
I know
ceiling.
when I hang upside, when I lay on my couch and put my head upside down, it looks like I could walk on the ceiling. It looks like someone did a really bad carpet job on the floor.
Nice, yeah.
Is carpet job?
It's just...
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, right? Where he walks on the ceiling on the carpet.
Are you thinking of Inception?
I'm kidding. Yes, I was talking about Inception. But.
And this whole thing is a movie podcast now.
Oh, no.
We're just getting started.
I think...
and cut.
Have you guys faced? What was some of like the moments, the pivotal moments when you were starting out and you heard negative thoughts or negative, what's the opposite of a compliment? Negative compliments from people in your world, family, friends, just like, what are you guys doing? Why would you do that? It's not going to work.
We had a bunch of people always trying to get us to play at like every like barbecue, local like backyard thing. It's like, why don't you play here? Why aren't you guys playing this week? Y'all should be playing. You play music, and we were like, well,
Why would we do that?
we have like I know it seems like you have no idea what's going on, and that's cool.
We've got a grip on it. you
Yeah,
know?
we're figuring it out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a bunch of we have very like supportive and well-meaning people in our corner.
Right.
And I think a lot of times when they didn't understand, there was always a default of like, but I trust the judgment of these two
Definitely.
to figure it out.
Yeah. We're smart enough. You know, we
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, it's different too when you're in a band versus like,
Well, yeah, it's already seen as like, oh, that's not a career.
Yeah.
it's not a career, but it's something people still can understand and relate to.
Yeah.
When you're like, yeah, oh,
But it's
they're in a band.
But it's looked at as a hobby.
Yeah.
Right. What I'm really getting at is like putting on events and shows, like in a
Right.
DIY sense. That's when people are like, what is that?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
No one
yeah.
understood, especially when like the shows that we were helping to facilitate were like these like hardcore and like punk shows and metalcore
You're talking about when you were
shows.
younger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were teenagers.
Yeah, I mean,
13,
you have
14.
Yeah.
we live in like a small town, or we lived in a small town. And,
Pretty rural community as well.
and
to
you know,
note.
our moms had to be like, oh, like, who's playing this weekend? And you play it, and she's like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
is like, is this Lucifer's band?
Right.
Is this
right.
Lucifer himself is in this
It's
band?
what it seemed like.
Sometimes he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're playing music, a lot of adults would be like, they see it as a hobby, but they at least be like, well, I've seen bands play and they make a living. I mean, it's
Right.
something. I get it. It's music.
Yeah.
When you're like, yeah, I'm putting on DIY shows
Yeah.
and DIY events or DIY music festivals, people are like, what?
Yeah. No
You've
one
got-
gets that.
You've gone too far.
You're going way too, like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that
Yeah.
before. So that's when it gets weird. So have you found yourself, when you would do those things, that was more misunderstood than playing music?
I think so, but I mean, at the same time, we were also younger. I mean, I think it was allowed to slip by because
Yeah.
we were in middle school and high school, you know.
What are you trying to say?
Well, 'cause-
I'm 31. What are you trying to say?
Well, we had a bunch of leeway. You also have to think we've been doing when we were touring early, when we were like 21, 22, you got to realize that most everybody else in this like touring road dog mentality were like 10 years older than
Oh
us.
yeah, you guys are
Right.
definitely younger.
right.
And so we always had like our contemporaries were much older and they had more to lose, you know, or
Yeah.
like whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
But our parents and friends and family were also just like, wow, hey,
Yeah.
cool. I don't know what that means, but you seem to be doing all right.
And you do it without hiccups. You
Yeah.
know, like we any problems we ever had, we kind of kept that internal and we were like, okay, well, it's a learning experience. Let's learn from this and
Yeah.
let's not do that again.
And
Or-
don't tell anybody.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
let them see you
Don't show
sweat.
your cards
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
You know, that's true. You got to like fake it till you make it is not an outward thing. It's not an outward. It's something you keep to
Definitely.
yourself that no one knows.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily literally like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrible at this. I have no skill. It's, I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm kind of good at this. And I got a lot of skill to learn how to go into something
Right.
with one eye open and not both, and just kind of figure out to eventually I can just keep both eyes open all the time.
Always learning, man.
Yeah. You got to be
Alwa-
willing to learn.
always
A
getting
curious
better.
mind, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it takes it's like, it's cliche or whatever, but that 10,000 hours, it's like, yeah,
It's a real thing.
you can't, you always want to be working and growing and being great. Your first hour is going to be much different from your 10,000th hour.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
and sometimes the confidence comes at that 10,000th hour. Sometimes you're like, I'm a bad dude from hour 100, you know? Like, there's things you learn along the way. There's no, linear straight path where it's like, oh yeah, once you play 300 shows, now you know how to do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, this is a natural ability, and this other stuff I'm gonna have to learn, and vice versa. But again, when you have two people, anytime we would face adversity, be it a problem like the van's broken down or this, show canceled, or like we're having a hard time booking this, or these clients are difficult, whatever it is, we have two people that have two brains that can figure it out, but we also have each other to where, like, if someone just comes up to you and they're like, everything you do sucks. You're like, even, it's not, you're just like, oh, wow, okay.
That person's mean.
But when
everything you do sucks.
But when you have two people, it's like, you have another person be like,
that guy was an asshole.
That guy sucks. Like, that guy's crazy. And it immediately, there's no fire. Like, it doesn't even cross your mind.
It's easier to diffuse the situation.
Yeah. And if somebody comes up to Andre, then I can get behind him and push him down the stairs. You know what I mean? Like, there's two people.
Have you found that the adversity of touring the country, sleeping in a van, things going wrong, hot, cold, not eating well, not sleeping well, playing music and you're expressing yourself in front of people you don't know across the country and it goes wrong. Have you found that to open up your mind and palate and kind of make you a more passionate and compassionate and empathetic person?
Yeah, you don't learn anything from the good shows.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. I mean, everything negative that happens, I think Matt and I speak for both of us, we use that as a learning experience and an opportunity to say, you know what can I take from this?
Yeah.
Let's switch my perspective from saying, oh man, this sucks, like this is the worst thing ever, it's never going to get better, to, okay, this happened. What can I use from this experience, take away from it, and turn it into a positive thing? You don't remember the good shows. You always remember the bad stuff.
Yeah. Have
That's
you
where
guys
you
always
learn.
been that way?
Yeah.
Or is it...
Yeah, I think that's a mentality we've always had.
Right. Because I have the same one. That's probably why we get along so organically and so well.
Yeah.
But I think it can get stronger. And
Yeah, I agree.
that's a thing I've learned about people. If you get stuck on something, the rest of the world gets kind of blurred out, and that becomes your focal point, whether it's good or bad. And I think exposing yourself to struggle, problems, adversity. I said it again. Adversity. I keep saying that, and tongue-tied here. Exposing yourself to just pain and suffering. I'll just make a blanket statement.
Yeah.
Getting through that time and time again really sets the threshold of what is suffering, to the point where most things are kind of just laughable and humorous, and you're just kind of like, and that you see that in a lot of adults. Like when you're a kid, you're like, why is so and so cold? Or why do they why does nothing bother so and so? It's like, oh, when you get to that age, you're like, oh, they've just been suffering for 30, 40 years. Like,
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't define it as suffering.
I'm being a little hyperbolic. It's not necessarily suffering.
Definitely, I would define it as experience. You've had a lot of experience, and whether that's good or bad, it's brought you to where you are now, and you're able to take in a scenario and say, you know what, I'm going to think about this a certain way, and I'm going to react a certain way. So I'm going to let my experience speak for me. Mm-hmm. Here you go.
Yeah. And do you think meeting a lot of different people from different ages, because you guys know many people from different ages professionally, like where we were on Friday, everyone was much older than you guys. And different ages, different ethnicities, different cultures. Mm-hmm. I feel like that helps a lot with having a better understanding of this world.
Broadens your worldview. I mean, that was, we truly lost our religion on the road.
Truly.
We truly, like, you have to realize
who we are is because of our experiences, that we've had touring the country and meeting people and having these things happen to us. Like that's developed us into who we are now.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on that? Losing your religion on the road?
Yeah. I would love to. So I did not grow up in a religious household. I found God in the form of Jesus Christ on my own. In sixth grade, you go with like some friends to a church camp. You're like, okay, cool. And then I picked up the guitar the same year. You see, oh wow, every Wednesday night there's like this band where they play guitar and sing songs, and it moves people. So I got involved with like the church band, and kind of became a church leader. It was very, very real to me. No one, and I'm not speaking for both of us, but we have similar stories.
We do have very similar stories. Yeah.
You know, it was our life. Like, we really cared. We wanted to save our friends from eternal torment. You know, we're Southern Baptists.
Damnation.
You know, but we did it with like love. I mean, there's moments that we were weird about it because of the nature of the beast, but we always kind of had a different approach. We were just like, yeah, I'm just going to love on everybody, help everybody all the time, play music, try to move people, help generally, right? And we were really, really into that, being leaders and helpers, all growing up, all through high school. Then, you know, it kind of started. Once you graduate high school, it's like you have a little more freedom. It's less rigidity to your schedule because you're in college. You're trying to figure it all out. But I still really, really believed and saw myself as like a leader and try to stay involved. But then going out on the road, it's, you know, hours upon hours of hundreds and thousands of miles of conversations and just looking at things, the full context of the way we grew up, how we grew up, and how we viewed the world, and how certain things weren't adding up, and feeling open with someone else to talk about things that you're not supposed to talk about, your internal, like, be it your doubts or just like your personal thoughts. Yeah. I remember pretty specifically one night we were in the old van, parked in some parking lot. Andre fell asleep because late. And I remember I've always had a hard time sleeping, but I was just laying there thinking about, you know, God, universe, whatever. And for like the first time in my entire life, I admitted, like, maybe, with no definitive opinion, but like maybe there is nothing else out there. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe it's not like Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, the only way to live, the only everything to base everything off of, and the way the Southern Baptist Church brought me up. Maybe that's not the end all be all. Maybe no, we don't know, and maybe I'm in this parking lot alone. There's not some like thing like staring at me, hating that I'm thinking this. And I remember going up to the front of the van and just like the passenger seat and sitting there and just kind of thinking on it, and then went back to bed, fell asleep. And that was when I fully dropped my guard that I had built up for a long time of like, no, none of that. Don't even think about that stuff. Like, your God is real, and this is exactly what it is. Everybody else is wrong. And if they're wrong, it's because they're wrong. Like, we don't even think about it. Yeah. But yeah, it was really interesting because that would be a conversation that we would have continually to this day of, I mean, I'm not going to dive, unless we bring it up. I'm not currently not going to be like, well, this is what I believe now. But I think the way I would shape it to, like, I lost my traditional sense of religion and the church and all that. And I now see that as a very vital part of who I am and who I was and how I grew up. And I do try to, regardless of my religious beliefs or what I think the afterlife is or God or whatever, I see that as like, wow, how cool of a role model, ideological role model was Jesus Christ. And so that's how I try to live my life. And though I don't believe in the full scope of Christianity by any means, I do think there was something to take from all that and apply it in a very positive way in emulating the selflessness and helpfulness and hopefulness of Jesus Christ. And so that's what's inside of me. And but yeah, no, I think I think the universe is God, and we're all part of the universe, and we're all God in our own ways. Mm-hmm. And when we die, no one knows, and that's totally actually cooler than anything.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
the not knowing,
absolutely.
The randomness.
And I never would have seen that. I mean, we didn't really have any, like, there wasn't like a huge outward facing Muslim population. There wasn't really a Jewish community where we grew up.
Not a lot of culture.
I mean, we had, it was very, very, small town Christian. I mean, we had
There were a lot of churches, though. There's probably 60 churches in Tyrrell.
a small town.
15,000 people.
Oh, Christian Baptist?
Yes.
But you also have to think, we had a very diverse population. We had a very large Hispanic community, and a lot of that was in like the realm of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Had a very large Black community, and that was often like Baptist and Methodist kind of thing, and same thing like rural community was very Southern Baptist.
Yep.
And so there was always religion everywhere, but it was always this one religion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so it was really interesting, But yeah, I think being able to broaden our worldview by meeting so many different people from all over the place, different walks of life, and realizing like my favorite people I've ever met, they don't care about this stuff.
Yeah. And not everybody believes this. Like, there's so many other parts of the world, and like, wow, not everybody is like my town of 12,000 people. You know, that was a really cool realization.
Mm-hmm. It's the biggest issue with staying in your town. No matter how big it is, just staying where you are and not leaving. I've been fortunate enough to the world's come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have just been in the same town, in the same house for 31 years,
Well,
but everyone's been there.
But you also live in Chicago, or outside of Chicago. But I mean, that's a major.
That was a major
hub.
thing. My high school is very diverse. There's a huge Muslim and Middle Eastern community and African community around with many different mosques, and I've seen temples, Jewish temples, different religions. There's Jehovah's Witness. Not any Mormon, but I've seen a lot of Jehovah's Witness churches.
Yeah. I grew up with some Mormon friends.
Yeah,
I did too.
I don't think there is much of that around where I live, but a lot of Christian. I grew up very religious, very Christian, very similar, but more embedded in the family because of people in the family being reverends and stuff. But as far as the camaraderie, the passion, the hope, the love of things you learn from someone like Jesus Christ, but you learn that most religions have. You realize they all have a lot of
It's all the same.
good fundamental concepts of be a good person, be forgiving, help each other.
Right.
And you guys definitely have that in you. I could see it. I have the same mentality. I learned that from Christianity.
Yeah.
But I realize you don't need a guilt trip from an omnipresent, invisible man with a beard to be good.
I refer to it as Sky Dad.
You don't need that guilt trip to be a good person.
Yeah.
You don't need any
let
of
go
it.
of shame and guilt. And
you can just do it because you want to bring light to the world.
I want to be
You
a
wanna-
nice person.
Yeah, I don't need like
Yeah.
Eternal damnation hanging over my head to like help somebody.
Yeah. That's
and
the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, like that it's almost like not worth it if that's your motivation is like
Right.
well,
I'm only helping you move today, my friend, because I don't want to go to hell.
yeah, but that's
I'm
what
only forgiving you because I don't want to go to hell. It's like, what?
But I'm going to tell you that you need to do this so you don't go to hell.
Yeah.
and
You know.
if you don't do it, I'm going to like never see you again.
Exactly. I've had that happen to me personally.
The guilt trips of like, if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell.
Well, that and like people stop talking to me because I tell them that I don't believe this anymore.
Oh, yeah. When you're growing up in hardcore Christianity, if someone is Catholic, they're like your arch nemesis. If you're of Protestant Baptist, if someone is,
They're all cliques.
they're weird cliques, and
so weird.
they have weird levels. If you're Catholic, they're like you're the rivalry.
That's one thing. Yeah.
Or how about this? If you're Catholic, you're the rivalry. If you're Muslim, you're like arch nemesis.
You're the nimini. The nimini?
Nimini.
The enemy.
You are like you are so bad for whatever reason, just because they said so. It's arbitrary. I don't believe this, by the way, for anybody listening at all.
Can I use profanity?
You could say whatever you want.
It's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
It is. It messed with my head.
Like,
it made me think that.
Like, why would you ever think that about somebody because of what they believe?
Or the color of their skin.
Exactly.
Or the food they eat. Or which way they pray.
And there's shit in the Bible that it's like, hate your enemy. And it's like, who's my enemy? I'm like a fucking farmer.
Yeah,
like,
what does that
what's
mean?
my enemy? The bad weather?
It's
And like, I mean, it's just,
Yes.
and like,
love your neighbor as thyself.
I agree with that.
Yeah, see, that's a good one.
I agree with that.
there's
a
so
good
much
one.
great stuff, but everybody only, don't get me started. We'll come up here. We'll tear this thing down.
Yeah, I'm usually a reserved person. I speak when needed, but yeah, I could go on and on.
Because this is
I
something
could
that's,
too.
my wife didn't even really realize. Me and Emily have, I think the way we approach our relationship as best friends, biz partners, brothers, whatever, we approach our spousal partner,
Marriage.
Our wives. We each have one
Your-
separate
no.
wife. I have a wife. Andre has a wife,
Your
and they're
property.
different people. Oh
Property.
God.
Oh my God.
I thought I was in the right state.
Oh my God.
I know people who think that.
I'm
but-
kidding, by the way.
But we
No one's
we
property.
approach those relationships in a very open and honest, way. But Emily didn't know how serious we were into religion until a year ago.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, y'all really?"
Until we
really
started really opening
believed
up about
in
it.
Yeah.
And we gave it was so real to us. We gave our whole lives and existence to it, and then we realized it's like a lot of it we had the wool pulled over our eyes to help other people that knew better.
Yeah.
Than to
It's a very manipulative situation.
hold something over kids' heads and not pay them to help and use them. We really, Andre and I were at the church 10 hours a week doing stuff.
If not more,
Never got $1, never really got a thank you, just got like, oh, God's really proud. And it's like, oh, cool. I bet you like that $100,000 salary that you get while I do it.
Well, and at the time to preface,
Let them know, by the way.
I didn't feel that way. I was like, man, I love being here.
Same, exact same.
Well, that's the trick.
This is service. I'm giving service to God.
You're edifying the Lord.
Right. And it's not how it is.
Yeah, this podcast can go to a place very soon because I get a little heated when it comes to it.
It's
I
frustrating.
know it all. Everything you're saying is just like hitting all the switches I kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
Because it's not something I'd deal with.
I've moved so far
Right.
beyond that.
Certain people struggle with it. Once that door's open and they see through the peephole in the door, they're like, every day I struggle with my walk with God and if He exists. It's like, no, I'm cool with not knowing whatever. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm here now, and maybe it goes black when I die, and I don't fucking care.
I was.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
What do you remember before January 1993 and 1994?
About
Right.
the same thing I'm gonna realize when I die.
Exactly.
Yeah. So-
I was thinking about this the other day. I think I'm starting a conversation here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I think that Christianity as a whole is too simple for what it is actually supposed to be. I think that people break down God to be more simplistic than what they're actually trying to define as God. Because technically, you can't define who it is or say any description about what God is. And I think that Christianity as a whole does a horrible job at that.
Well, they dumbed it down so much.
Right.
Well, it's to control people and take 10% of their money.
It's
Yeah.
easy to get a lot of people involved with something where all you have to go and do is, it's not Catholicism. You have to go to a church and go to a booth and talk to a priest and ask and tell them how you sinned, do certain Hail Marys, do certain prayers, follow certain rules. The modern Protestant Christianity and all its branches, but the simplest form of we're a non-denominational Bible Christianity church.
Yeah.
It is so simple and straightforward to the point where it's like all you have to do is go ask for forgiveness. Oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. And you're good.
Yeah.
Ask him in your heart.
Yeah,
and you're good.
technically, I'm still going to heaven,
Yeah, we're saved. Once you're saved, you
I'm
can't
good.
be
I've
unsaved.
been saved so many times. The first time, did it stick? Let's ask him again.
Yeah, fuck, I
7,
don't know.
let's ask him at 9. Let's ask him at 11. Are you saved?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus in my heart. I understand. That's it. You know how easy it is to get a following when that person
Exactly.
just has to go all I got to do is be oh, I'm sorry, God.
Yeah.
You're in my heart. I love you.
Yeah.
You're good. All right. Anywhere you want. You could be in anywhere. You could be in a prison cell and do it. You can be on your deathbed and do it. Oh, what do you know? Tends to be a lot of people go to the Lord on their deathbed or in prison.
Right.
What do you know?
Right.
And it's pretty darn easy to do that.
Exactly.
But to put in the work that a lot of other religions have. Like Islam has a lot of work you got to do
It's
in
a
certain
commitment.
things. It is.
A huge
It
commitment.
actually makes more sense. You're like, oh, You got to put a lot more effort. You
You must actually believe.
You got to do stuff. You
Right.
got to eat certain foods, pray certain directions, certain times of the day. Ramadan, like these are. There's Lent. It's like, oh yeah, no one does Lent.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions.
No, it doesn't.
When you have no repercussions or anything, you're just like, I do it sometimes.
I feel like when I was younger, I gave up like French fries for Lent or some bullshit.
I
I
didn't
never
practice
gave up
Lent. We weren't
anything.
Catholic. It wasn't a thing I practiced.
I know I wasn't Catholic either. I was
know.
just like, I'm gonna try this because whatever.
Christianity, it has dumbed down so much. Like, yeah, tithe 10%, give us your money, do a ton of free stuff for this church.
Yeah.
I cleaned the church with my mom. I went to 4 different youth groups a week.
Oh wow.
I went to many different summer schools. I did a lot of things in the religious world. Went to private schools that were Baptist. There would be times where my whole life was just church, Sunday through till Friday.
Yeah.
Just Mondays was a youth group at one church. Tuesdays was one at the one I went to. Wednesdays was one at the school I went to. And Thursdays was like a Boy Scouts one.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was a lot. I could still do Bible drills better than anybody.
Yeah.
Remember Bible drills?
Oh yeah.
Get the book, they say the verse, and you got to find it and
Acts
read it.
3:19. Go.
Boom, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna go about 85% away through the Bible. It's way at the very end of the 66 books. You go to probably a book. What would it be? Probably a 58.
Well, then you get thrown something like Esther 2:1 or something like that, and you're like, oh fuck, I don't know.
You got to remember, Job is the middle of the Bible.
Exactly.
I mean, Esther's right next to it. You just go right over it. A couple clicks. That never goes away. I did it too much.
You had that young Christians. See, I missed out on the young Christian
Oh my God.
stuff. You
From
had it.
birth.
Yeah, not me, man.
Embedded in my DNA
Yeah.
from birth. So you're the whole family, grandparents. It goes back far.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it was more like in high school when I started when I got a job and a car and I'd meet people, drive around, go to concerts, started to get more in my head about and just thinking differently, just like stepping outside of the box and looking at it from a subjective and objective perspective. To detach your emotions from it, it's a really hard place to be. We've talked about this off mic this week, but people die, that's a hard thing to stomach. Relationships end, that's a hard thing to stomach. But leaving a group, a religious belief, whatever it is, anything that is embedded in who you are and your identity, that's a hard thing to do. I'm not equating it to this, but it's probably in some atmosphere of what it is for someone to have an identity crisis with their sexuality.
Absolutely.
When it's just what you associate with, it's what you've been told to do. It's similar switches in the brain are going off emotionally with the struggle of but I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
But I'm not anymore. What is that to not be one when you were for 20 years?
Well, that's all you know. Yeah.
That's all you know.
Yeah.
What is it
It's
to not
easier
do
to
that?
stay than to leave, man.
Yeah.
And especially if you live in a small town, if all your friends believe in this, why?
Why would you not? Yeah.
Yeah. So you just
And also
stay.
the guilt.
Even if you don't believe it, you're like, well, I'm gonna show
You
up
just
every
feel guilty.
Sunday.
You're
I'll
told
go
to
along
be
with it.
guilty. Just
Yeah.
guilt. You just feel bad. You're like, I can't even say the words out loud. I just feel bad saying it.
And I mean, it was talk about one of the most freeing things in life to realize, now. I struggled with this for a very long time of feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Very guilty for
Years?
Be it of course, sex. Any type of sex thing, you feel shame and guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any type of living with somebody before you're married. Any type of anything. Listening,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Same.
And then realizing I don't feel guilt, shame, and even if somebody tried to
Yeah.
a religious person came and tried to really drill it into me, I'd be like, you know what, really, because of the bullshit I've seen and gone through and our experiences, there's nothing you could say that would faze me.
It's for the birds, man.
Really, okay, you can have fun letting fear and shame and guilt rule your life, but I'm just gonna follow my passions and love for everybody.
Yeah.
And not just my clique or friends or people that believe this way. I don't give a fuck what somebody believes. I'll do whatever. I'll help. I mean, if they're racist, that's different. There's certain things
Fuck that.
that I'm just not going to tolerate.
Yeah, of course.
But the funny thing is, isn't it funny that the same people that believe well, you don't believe in God anymore? It's like, well, you don't hang out with black people or Hispanic people, or, you know, you don't like Jewish people. And it's
It's
like,
a very common thing.
yeah. And,
very white Christian people.
and so
very
don't,
racist.
you
sometimes.
can't hold any shit against me because
Yeah, it's all a projection too internally. Like, you know, any guilt or shame is, you know, it's not a real thing. You're just saying like, oh, I feel this way.
it's
But
something
not true.
other people use to rule over you.
Exactly.
Especially
It's
when
a
they tell you
pissing
an
contest.
overlord is ruling over
It's
you.
just a big pissing contest. They're just people, so they're still gonna have the issues with
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, when you think you're right and you think you're going to heaven, you have all these rewards and everything's peachy and wonderful, then your ego gets inflated. And people who are not that, you look down upon them. It's the same problem with skin color.
Yeah.
For some reason, you think white is superior. You're like, why?
Yeah, why?
Because you were in Europe for 20,000 years and you have
Which means
different
nothing.
melanin levels in your
Yeah.
Yeah.
DNA. Like, that's it.
No one cares.
Just learn history. Like, learn geography and history. My
no,
friend,
no,
and
not
you'll-
in our church, damn it. Don't be bringing history or science or
I
none
can't
of that in
even
here.
talk about science with someone who's it's rough. It's a rough place to be.
Well, I mean, the Earth's only 4,000 years old, so
8, 6, 4, whatever you need it to be.
Who cares?
I
Who
don't
cares?
I don't actually believe that. Just for anyone listening, the Earth is, you know, billions of years old.
I think it's like 4.5,
Billion, yes,
something like
Yeah.
that. You know,
I'll be honest. I don't give a shit.
It's been here a long time.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think we're all living in one cell organism on the back of some giant sloth. I don't give a shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
All I know is like I'm
Yeah.
here with my best friends, doing cool stuff, making cool music,
Yeah.
This looks funny
communicating with people.
The low.
You
Well,
like that?
okay. I'm sorry, Ben.
No.
on me.
This is throwing me off now.
Okay.
I can change it back. I was tired of like kind of having to like, you know,
The
do
hunch.
this.
Yeah,
And
no, it
so
works.
I wanted to.
It works.
Wanted to use posture.
The religious
Andre
hunch.
changed his microphone height for those listening.
Yeah.
It's funny. So for those listening, Matt, Andre, and I have been good friends for 6 years. We've done a lot of crazy stuff together. We've all grown together in our own ways. We haven't stopped what we've been doing, which has been a cool thing to see. Probably made us closer.
Agreed.
We play music together in a fun, experimental, avant-garde, ambient, improvisational, in the moment in band called Afterglows.
It's like all those other bands you listen to. Have fun explaining that to somebody.
That's super accessible.
It's fun. Yeah, listener friendly. You'd hear on the radio. Taylor Swift was playing it earlier. But,
It's going to be what plays as I descend into this hellfire
Right.
hellscape.
it
when I
better
die.
for those listening.
I hope.
Play Afterglows when I die.
Play. Oh my gosh.
And then send me on a spire across the ocean as I'm lit on fire. And
Yeah.
Emily has a list of songs. They'll always be, oh man, play this when I die. And it's like at my funeral, it's going to be like a 6-hour playlist where everybody's just like, oh my God, really?
What would be if you could pick a song? What would it be?
to play as I'm like, I'm getting cremated. I don't give a shit about
Me
my
too.
body.
Same.
Don't put that chemical crap in me. Don't display me for
Embalming.
everyone.
Dude.
Great.
Yeah.
One of the, I mean, I would say as you have my like ashes and you're throwing them in the trash or wherever, I don't care.
Don't even spread them anywhere. Just throw them in the trash. Burn me, then throw them in the trash.
I mean, wherever you want to put them. I mean, one of the songs that immediately transports me to a space. This isn't necessarily about lyrics, but more so just like a musical vibe. A song called "Arizona" by Kings of Leon.
It's a great song.
The way the snare drum, the guitar, kick, snare drum, and bass sound has always moved me.
Yeah.
And people are like, Kings of Leon, that's a popular band. You're like, yeah, and you're a nerd, and you only know them for one song, and you have. That's a great song.
No,
Fuck.
Aha Shake Heartbreaks.
but I'm saying that's
Look,
the song.
I have that. It's
right
right
there.
there. Look at that.
There's Youth and Young Manhood.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's the song I'm thinking of that people know.
For everybody
Right now.
listening, I mean,
Yeah.
we can run circles around you in independent bands no one gives a shit about, or you don't give a shit about. But there's some great stuff out there. But I will say John Mayer, underrated. Kings of Leon, underrated.
Yeah.
Wait. Did you just name two massive, like, platinum selling bands underrated?
Yeah.
Underrated,
Aren't they
underrated and
well-rated?
misunderstood. No,
What do you mean by that?
misunderstood. I
Okay.
think John Mayer we've seen it because we hang out with people that are like 10 years older than us. They're like, John Mayer sucks. And it's like, well, because you knew him from Your Body is a Wonderland when you were in college.
His first record, second record.
And it's like, yeah, but have you listened to Born and Raised, Paradise Valley?
He's an incredible songwriter.
Out of all the behind the scenes work we've ever done in 10 years, he has the single best crew, best live sound I've ever heard. He's had the same backstage crew since 2006.
Yeah.
He's a great person. Everybody's like, he's rude and shitty. It's like, honestly, if you had millions of dollars and were like the hottest shit around, would you not have like slept with supermodels and like, you know what I mean? Like,
I would have slept with just models, probably not super ones, though.
well, see?
Hey,
But would you don't know till you're there.
to each his own. I mean,
And Kings of Leon, everybody wants to judge him for being
use somebody or-
which is honestly, I hear it at the grocery store all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great song, but excuse me, Aha Shake Heartbreak's one of the best albums, period, for me.
I think people are just jealous of their success. They've had a lot of great success.
That's usually the problem with anything.
yeah, which I
They're
mean,
just jealous that the person's making good money,
right?
do what they love.
And yeah, I mean, I get it for sure. But also, like, if you just consume their music as a listener and detach yourself from, oh, this is a multimillionaire or whatever, it's great art. It's really good music.
Yeah.
And they grew up small town, like trailer park kids and religion.
Yeah.
And
So you
relate
relate,
from
you
it.
relate on that level.
Similar story. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
I never thought over. I always thought like perfectly rated. I was like, yeah, they're both really good at what they
Yeah.
do. I don't know much.
I think
Kings Leon or John Mayer.
I say
to be honest.
underrated in not so much the way the industry views them, but like the way art, like the
Yeah, no,
the
John Mayer gets a
art
bad
work.
rap across most independent musicians.
Yeah, he's like, okay, well,
sure.
sorry, he's one of like the cool. He's a great guitar player, phenomenal songwriter. His
Yeah.
production on his albums are way better than your albums. Let's be honest about it.
oh, he looked at the camera.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Honestly, Continuum by John Mayer, front to back, that's my favorite sounding, like sonically sounding record of all time.
I'm gonna check it out.
Recorded very well.
I literally
it's
like
incredible.
know John Mayer.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Jordan on the drums. Come on, man. What else?
He had Don Was in the studio and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You lost me, guys. I don't know.
It was recorded at Electric Lady Studios.
I know that one.
I mean,
Electric Lady Landon Studios in New York. That's pretty legendary. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. There's so much music. It's never ending.
Infinite music.
You have the rest of your life to keep finding it.
Can I say the song that I would want played at my funeral?
Yes, please do.
I spent that whole time thinking about a funny song while Matt was explaining his song. I would just want Highway to Hell by AC/DC to play.
That'd be sweet.
That's
That's
talk
a cool
about
song.
talk about a cool band.
I thought you'd want one of those like metal core song bands
mean,
from the
no.
you grew up listening to.
yeah.
I would want. That's a good one.
I mean, I'm being funny.
Yeah.
If you were to be not funny, what would it be?
See, I didn't want you to ask me that question because I haven't thought about it.
All right, you keep thinking. And Matt, you said
I mean, this is just one of them. I got a 6-hour playlist.
Yeah, see, that's my problem too.
name
Is like,
one in this moment, right now. What you're feeling? Just what comes to your heart?
Well, I told you Arizona by Kings of Leon. I'll give you a different one. How about that? You already heard that one. That was my dealer's choice, first pick.
I've got mine when you're ready.
What's yours?
Go for it.
I would say Wild Horses by Ray LaMontagne.
Okay, I'm familiar with that one.
It's an incredible song. I cry every time I hear that song.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Any
beautiful.
particular reason? Is it?
Just the vast open-ended meaning of the song, like the lyrics are beautiful, all the wild horses tethered with tears in their eyes, and then they run free. Like it's beautiful. It's so majestic, so magical.
And you
That's what I think happens when you die.
wild horses.
Yeah, you're free. You're in the ether. You're part of
finally away from.
You're
all
part
this
of the
chaos.
universe. Yeah.
I'm gonna just say Arizona by Kings of Leon again.
Kings of Leon, Arizona.
It plays twice.
on repeat.
Yeah. Think about it.
Why do we do funerals with embalming? I hate that. And the concrete, and the plastic caskets.
Open
and
caskets.
This makes me
fucking
feel weird.
It's so weird and depressing. It's like the person died.
Yeah.
I don't need to see them again. People claim it like closure. I'm like, it's not really. It's kind of dark.
Sad.
It's not really closure. It makes me feel worse. I usually don't go up anymore. I'm like, I don't need to see that.
Don't show me the dead body.
Why am
please.
I subjecting myself to that
The person I've loved, I'm gonna go look at him completely dead.
with weird stuff going on? Way too much makeup. It's
No, cremate me
I don't even want that. Take my naked body, throw me in a hole in the forest, and plant a tree there. Just let me be the nutrition for it.
Yeah.
People are going to dig you up and then look for who killed you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna kill myself in this
okay.
hole.
So pull all my teeth out and take my
This is dark.
How do you want to go? How do you guys want to die?
I mean, I would like to die peacefully.
Yeah, I'd like to die from being like.
I don't want to know that it happened. I mean, I don't want a violent,
Yeah,
crazy death.
I want this is how I want to die. I want to have a good meal with somebody I love.
Is this why before you go to like the electric chair?
That's where it sounds like it's going.
I'm dying at
Gonna have a good meal.
I'm dying at 137.
Ooh, I'm not living that long, baby.
No,
I can't wait. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be flying to Mars on the weekends. It's gonna be awesome.
I would like to die flying to Mars. Hell yeah, I'll do that.
The radiation might get you.
Send me in a spaceship. I don't give a shit. I mean, if you're making the decision to go to Mars, you're already aware that you're going to die.
Yeah,
So
I'm 100 years old. Strap my ass into this rocket.
Yeah.
Let's rock.
yeah, put on Highway to Hell.
Hell yeah, on repeat. You're just like,
It takes 3 months to get to Mars.
Oh, you got to wait 3 months to die on repeat. I was 137. Just had an amazing dish, amazing meal with someone I love. Put on a record, favorite record. Maybe I'll put on Moon Picks by Cat Power. The song I want to die to, or not die to, but my wake would be Colors and Kids by Moon Picks, by Cat Power off Moon Picks. It's a great song. It's from like 98. It's really good stuff. But anyway, listen to that record and then probably have sex
Yeah,
at 137.
and that's how you die.
you're just going to have a heart attack.
and then die in my sleep afterwards.
Okay.
That's not. I mean, that's the optimum way to go.
Yeah. I was being a little more real,
Yeah, going to Mars.
Yes.
Hey, listen, Ben, your story is crazy. I'm going to Mars.
Yeah. Come on, get with it, man.
Who wouldn't want to have that be your last day on Earth?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It sounds like a good time.
What, your last day on Earth going to Mars, or
That's when you die on to the Earth.
What's your last day on Earth? I'm not on Earth. I'm going to Mars.
Right.
Man,
Right.
yeah, it'd be really cool. You could like change your name. You could speak a different language. You could, when you're headed to Mars, no one gives a shit about you anymore.
there's no
You're
rules.
dead.
If you went to Mars, what would be your reason for going?
Just to die out there. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm 100 years old. I can't do shit.
I want to keep going with this, but I just realized the problem we have here is we know each other too well. We've talked music and our history so much off mic that we're like,
yeah.
if you noticed, like 9 out of 10 of the questions I asked you, I already knew the answers to. I
Oh,
just was asking
absolutely.
for people to listen.
That's just something that you
But
don't
I'm
know.
like, how do you make your sound big? Do you have multiple amps that I haven't mic'd 10
Yeah.
times at my?
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
okay, let's do this. Let's go there. Ask something you don't know.
Yeah.
Ask something big.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see
Ask
what's
something new.
Well, the religion thing, I've started to learn about you, but this has been more helpful to get more of an understanding of where you guys are.
Ask us something like real.
I mean, that's pretty real.
I know. It's just,
Okay.
what do you not know?
What? I mean, I think as yeah, you're right. Okay. Has it been hard as an adult doing a creative endeavor, such as music, to like map out your future? And don't answer yet, because in a lot of jobs and careers, they got 401k, they got retirement plans, they got pensions, they got all these things that make you want to stay at a place for 30 years. Not having that available in your career path, where does that put you in, like in the grand scheme of like how you feel about your future? Like, do you feel like that's a good thing, or do you feel like it's a crutch? Do you feel like it's hindering you, scaring you? Do you feel too young to think too hard about it at the moment?
I think about that all the time. Honestly, I mean, it's scary for sure because there's, you don't have any security when
Yeah.
you do something like this.
No.
But I will say, I think that Matt and I are very intelligent people, and we have taken appropriate measures to make sure, hey, we're going to do this for a long time. And we're going to make it a sustainable thing where we can provide for ourselves and our families. And if we get to a point to where we see that that's not happening, then we are going to augment it to make it happen.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you also have to think, like Andre said, longevity and sustainability are like two of our pillars.
Right.
You know, and when we have all these irons in a fire, it's not just because, I don't know, let's just do something. It's like, well, because whether it is a song that goes platinum and becomes the new national anthem, or, you know, the production services like the runner stuff takes off, or we do audio for a film and pull in 100 G's in, a month, or, whatever it is. Like, we have so many things that can hit, and we love them all. There's certain things that we certainly prefer, certain things we're better at than others.
Yeah.
But we have all of this going on, and nothing is a crutch for one another. It's just we just do a bunch. And I think the biggest thing, aside from, when I was talking about wanting to be, emulate Jesus Christ in the sense of like helpfulness, hopefulness, and stuff. The biggest thing that I took from church and my experience with that was faith, and they focus so much on faith in God, faith about the afterlife, faith in all that all of the not sinning will be rewarded. I don't care about any of that, but I have faith in myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, I know that the things I want to do, we don't just like freely be like, yeah, I'm gonna go play and drink and do whatever. No, everything we do is very intentional, calculated. I mean, we certainly leave room for the real like life, but I think it can be seen as a fault, but you have two people.
Yeah.
But I don't worry. My wife may sometimes worry. There's moments where we have that.
Right.
But it's always easy to put out that fire because it's easy. Everything's cool.
We've gotten this far, haven't we? I mean,
and it's just gotten bigger. It's multiplied constantly.
We're always seeing progress,
and
which
nothing has even like majorly hit. If one of our things got doubled, well, cool, we're here forever.
Yeah.
Even if nothing doubles, if everything just incrementally grows by 2% a year, cool, we're here forever.
Yeah.
I also think we have, realistic and modest expectations too. We're not expecting to make $35 million, I don't think that's our end goal. Our end goal is to be able to do this sustainably and comfortably, not, have an overwhelming amount of money. I think we've also stopped measuring success monetarily. I think a lot of people look at success as a monetary value, and it's hard not to because society's groomed us all to do that. But I think you have to look at things other than money as success.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I'm on the same page, same wavelength.
Absolutely.
It's why I do a lot of the things too. Like, I enjoy it all. There are a lot of things that overlap, but it's also like it's stability. Like, when one thing isn't working, the other thing is. When the whole industry goes away, I get to teach still. Like,
right.
Like, there's a lot of stability in those things, and something can take off, something cannot, and you could trim the fat here and there. I mean, the main thing of starting DZ Records and DZ Fest was being in a band, was Wilshire. Like, I want a place where I can record music.
Yeah.
Guess let's do it myself. I want a place where I could play shows. Because you look at the first, 10 shows we always played. DZ Fest, Into Meeting, we're always playing. That's where we played shows. Where else were we supposed to play? It's suburbs of Chicago. I didn't know anybody yet, and we're young. So it started out with the way, but when I realized that type of music and band isn't going to make anything of itself, it just isn't without a lot of investment. The people involved were not quite there. So I was like, I'll just do these other things. And it's still fun. I still enjoy recording and playing music and putting on shows and having them.
Yeah.
And it's still, 11 years later, still doing those same things. So I relay on that. And I never thought of it financially as like, could be crazy. Some people would call us stupid or crazy.
Sure.
What do you mean? It's like, I don't know. Like,
it's hard to explain too. I mean,
well, a lot of people have done the opposite. They just thought about the money and they think about how it makes them feel to do that type of work all the time.
I want to add something to it as well. Like, it's easier to sacrifice something like a 401k or retirement or pension, whatever you want to call it, when you have ownership of what you're doing, because it's your livelihood. It's you, like you're doing your thing specifically. And I know that may sound like a weird statement because of the, security you get from, a job that provides you with all these things. But I don't know. To me, it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I heard my doorbell. Anyway, to me, it makes up for it when you have ownership in what you're doing, and you're able to be transparent in that and put everything out, wear your heart on your sleeve, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
someone here.
I think it's the plumber, or
Do you think he needs you?
I don't think so.
He was here earlier.
He was, yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah, he's got it.
Cool.
Mackenzie's answering the door, so it's okay.
We're all good people.
We'll be fine.
We're all good.
Yeah.
What about your wives? They're in very different industries, your partners, and do they? I know you guys have always had an understanding, but how do they feel about it? Like, do they ever worry? Do they ever?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, like my wife, Mackenzie specifically, she's a nurse. She's a registered nurse. Very different career path from music. She's.
You heal people. She heals people. In her own way.
Well, yeah. There's certainly parallels, obviously, but
Yeah.
she has a very secure, typical career path. And sure that helps. Me to be able to facilitate my thing for sure. But I mean, yeah, there's still always that question of like, well, what happens in 10 years or what happens in 20 years or whatever. But it's always a conversation that's had, and, we move on because, I mean, I honestly don't know what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years.
Well, it's the, you always want to have a plan and be intentional and prepare and always move forward and grow.
Yeah.
But it's also like looking at the afterlife thing with religion. It's like, well, where are we going to be in 20 years? And it's like, I don't know what's going to happen when you die. We'll get there. We'll be cool. But we got to just.
Where are we at right now?
Yeah, you can't always you can't always live in the moment of the future. You got to live in the moment of the now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's not to say like, oh, no plan, babe. We're going to figure it out. But but it's like, these fears come up, and there's certain moments where it's like, yeah, we do get squeezed. Like when something happens, like, the whole industry goes away, and like everything you had teed up, you spent 10 years teeing up, goes away completely. Yeah. And we don't talk about it. We haven't been open about it at all. But like but especially with Roadrunner and putting out Good Grief in April of 2020, it was going to be the biggest, best, baddest year of all time for us financially.
Yep.
I mean, we lost out on more than most people would think.
Yeah.
A
lot.
And that's not just something we're like, oh, well, just take one on the chin. It's like our wives had to also see their partners that they've been with for a very, very long time have everything taken away from them.
Yeah.
And then that puts a fear in them and be like, oh,
absolutely.
No one ever saw that coming.
Yeah.
But you get through it and you survive, and it makes you more resilient. We've started doing, like, I think we've adapted very well. And I think it's through that process that even when there is the doubt's not the right word, but like concerns or worry of like, well, how does this shake out in the very long form? It's like, well, we had 100% of everything taken away, and look how we adapted to that with the very limited resources we had.
Yeah.
So now imagine 10 years down the road, if something happens, well, we'll have more resources, we'll have more experience, we can handle
we're
anything.
agile. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I mean, that's the Matt and Andre way. That's why we do this thing together, and it's not just one person.
Exactly.
Because it sounds so weird because people want a hard line thing. It's like, well, too bad. Life's not that way.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out. Whatever happens, no matter how bad it is, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's also kind of fun.
Yeah, in that life. Like,
it's exhilarating to be put into pickles.
I like solving puzzles, man.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it. So, I mean, in the moment, sometimes it's like, damn, this sucks. But, it is what it is.
When you overcome it, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
When you get through it on the other side. No, yeah, 2020 was terrible.
It was brutal.
It was a very, very bad year for the music and arts industry and production. It's did not see that coming, and it was going to be a great year for a lot of people. Great year for you guys. Great year for me too. But here we are, grown. What time is it?
It is 5 o'clock. 4 o'clock, sorry.
Is it really?
4 o'clock.
Cool. I was just wondering. Yeah.
What's the favorite sonic art form you've ever been a part of? Single song, not an album.
You asking me or him?
Both of you and myself. It's a
I'm
prompt.
I'm asking myself. You go first, Andre.
Okay.
You've ever been a part of?
You have to.
Like you just contributed something in some way? Or how?
Yes, but more than like a minimal, like, you know what I mean? Not I put a snare drum on
Yeah.
a Drake song. I mean, that could work too. That's a big thing.
I wish.
Yeah. but yeah, something
I have three that come to mind.
Well, let's go.
You go first. I don't have mine yet.
Worth It, that Vinny wrote for Neighbors You Know, playing bass on that.
Beautiful song.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic
Like
song.
being able to play an instrument on that. That one's extra special because I know the meaning behind the lyrics. I was a part of that situation he went through 10 years ago. And that was a song he did not want to do.
Yeah.
And he would play it all the time in my garage. I was like, Vinny, the song is special. That's a good one. We got to keep it. He was like, and I just kept I kind of don't listen to people. And I was just like, no. I eventually got to like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to release it, it's fine, but we got to capture that in its pure form. So playing bass in that, facilitating that, pushing Vinny to do it, and then recording it and having it be available on the internet. And it turns out it's every person who's listened to it favorite song on that record. So Vinny, if you're out there listening, I was right. But anyway, Towards Zero, Afterglows, because for those who don't know, our fun improvisational experimental band, but that was a live show. Like that was a concert.
Yeah.
Like there were people there watching us, and we still improvised it. And the beginning of it is me making a drone while you two and Yasmin are smoking weed outside, and didn't realize we're like restarted. And I just have a drone going.
I remember walking down the stairs. It felt like a movie. I was walking down the stairs, ripped out of my mind, picked up that bass, and we just rocked.
And we're still recording. You guys show like it was an accidental, like serendipitous thing where Steven and I are making drones, and you guys are coming in. It's like we did it on purpose. Like we started the concert, and you guys walk in, and we have a video of one of those songs, but the recording of it, and it was one of the coolest recordings ever. It goes well with Planet Earth 2, if those care, if those out there who care.
The Jungle episode.
It's incredible.
It's crazy. And then the third thing is the song off my third record, Wilshire Epigenesis, off My Metamorphic Mind. That song, it's the first song on the record. That one is special to me.
Fantastic record.
Thank you. Yeah, that one just really, that was one of the hardest things I ever did musically. It took me a long time.
Complex. Man.
Yeah, it was a hard one to do. And that song in particular is just the lyrics, the style, where it goes, how it all comes together. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff going on. So that one means a lot to me. Those three mean a lot.
Yeah.
Of stuff I've been a part of. Yeah. How about you?
You go next because I think I'm going to have similar answers to both of you. Honestly, I'm just foreshadowing, but I want you to go first. If you don't, I can go.
No, well, I have one that like. Yeah, well, I mean, my favorite recording that I've done, I think, everything is so subjective that it's like, I don't mean this is the single like best thing I've ever done per se.
Yeah, just your favorite.
But the one I always come back to, I think the song "Change" from Good Grief is one of my favorite things I've been a part of, from the full context of everything going on to the recording to the just way it sounds.
Yeah.
It's my like favorite thing.
Yeah.
And it's so real. Like anytime I listen to it, I'm like, it's still just as real. It's more real and true now as it ever was.
Yeah.
Because change is going to be the thing that always stays the same. Like,
It's inevitable.
You know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
only thing that's a constant in this world is change. And
Yeah.
I think that song is some of it's a greater sense of best display of a greater sense of understanding that still moves me, and like the don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, I listen to it every day.
Yeah. And it's a fucking smooth jam.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, put that on anytime.
Yeah. Do you have any more? Is that it?
Well, now 2018 January. What
That was Toward Zero.
Toward Zero?
Yeah.
Toward Zero is the same. My dad had just died like 2 weeks before that, and we just went on the road.
I
we just
remember that.
we just fucking
I couldn't
dealt with
believe it. I
And
remember
that-
when you came through, I was just like, wait.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah, no one did.
I was just like, wait, but
Same.
It's just
And my dad's dead too. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't know
we
how
went
to
through
do it.
this. That brought us even closer. But yeah, that happened on January 4th, 25th birthday, and then we left for a tour 1 week later.
Yeah.
oh my
And
God.
yeah,
I
and it was
do
like a
remember that.
4 week tour. I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, we're gonna go play. It's like, no, we're gone in a van in the coldest part of the year
Out there.
to the
Chicago,
northern.
January, playing shows. You played an Intimate Evening, like Matthew McNeal and Afterglows, right?
Yeah, we did.
And I remember my Matthew McNeal set suffered because we did Afterglows first. Because-
Anything will suffer.
Yeah, I mean,
Takes a lot of energy.
I can't even like explain how draining's wrong. Draining is a negative word, but like how much it takes out of you to do Afterglows
Yeah.
because you're in you're 100% in the moment. Sometimes you can't even hear what the other people are doing. And if you play bass, you're just like, I have to be the thing that's kind of doing it.
Yeah.
And you're making it up all on the spot. And
It's exhilarating, right?
yeah, it is. And I only say the Matthew McNeal set suffered because we did a version of Rumorosa, which I think is really good, but you could tell I was tired because emotionally drained, touring drained, and I played Afterglows like an hour before, and we played for
Mentally
like
drained.
45 minutes straight. But that
Mentally drained for sure.
I got to get a lot out in that session because it wasn't about speaking.
Yeah.
There was no like words. I didn't have to talk about, well, my dad's dead,
Yeah.
and I'm dealing with that.
Yeah.
And play some like really pretty pre-planned guitar stuff. Like it was a cool way to express my like deep sadness and understanding. I think I'm close to it. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so great, but like I think that's what made Toward Zero so good was not my bass playing because of me being a good bass player, but because I had something to say
Yeah.
and because I was feeling something
Yeah.
when it was recorded
Yeah.
heavily for an hour.
Yeah.
And I was ripped out. I was high as a motherfucker, and we're making some crazy music.
That record's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy.
yeah. It was,
I
and
do
I couldn't
remember
talk
that.
to any. I mean, we could talk about it. That's what was really special. Is like
Yeah.
someone else who's lost their dad
Yeah.
and lives the exact same. Like it was yet another parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also hard in the scope of things. Like it'd be a whole podcast about it, but like of my relationship with my dad, and that it happened out of nowhere. I mean, like out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And
On your birthday.
yeah, and where me and my dad were at the time, like in our story
Yeah.
of 25 years. And so having Andre to talk about that was great. And going on tour and doing music was healing. It would have done me no good to not tour.
Curl up
Yeah.
in a ball.
To cancel that tour would have been the worst
Yeah.
decision I could have made. That was
Yeah.
one of my favorite tours of all time
Yeah.
because
Same.
of the story arc,
Same.
And, but yeah, Change was recorded later in 2018 because of that experience.
Yeah.
I remember when you showed me.
Yeah,
those
because we
songs.
recorded Change, All for Nothing, and Michael, which was my dad's name and my first name,
Yeah.
all at the same time, inspired by how big of a
Turning point.
turning point that was.
There's a turning point in your music too.
Yeah.
The way you guys play, the style.
Absolutely.
We became
know.
ourselves more. We said, I don't have to just be
Yeah.
a rock band or just have like whatever the guys whatever they want to play, that's what it is. We were like, we're going to make our music the way we want to make it. That's why we do it independently, so we don't have to get approval from anybody.
Yeah.
We can just be ourselves.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I can't relate. I can't relate on. I have both my parents, and it just so happens that both of you guys don't. Both your fathers have passed away, and I'm sure that plays a huge role in your lives as men, as family, as husbands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As your life decisions, because
Yep.
life decisions, taking care of yourself, drugs and alcohol, all that stuff adds up to some issues. It could lead to a lot of different problems when you become an adult. But do you think it has changed you as men? Like,
More than most anything.
talking about being a man is a weird place right now.
Right.
Because, first of all, men don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Men don't know how to cry. They don't know how to express themselves very well. I certainly do, but not everyone does. I don't care at all. I'll cry if I need to. I'll, write a poem if I have to. I don't mind. But a lot of men have a hard time with it, and it's a weird place to be like, what is it to be a man? And I don't think it's to be physically strong. All those tropes. Like, I don't think it is to, like, have a deep voice or have a beard or be a big dude.
Yeah.
I think it's to be held accountable for yourself, for those around you. I think it's to be there for a partner. Doesn't matter who they are. I think it's to be there for your child. Doesn't matter how that is, but being there. I think it's to be there for yourself, to be on top of things. And you start to realize it's really about just being an adult, not fitting gender roles that are, bestowed upon us by society. We're going to have a lot of differences because we have different genetics. We're men. We're not biologically the same as women.
Right.
But I think it's about, like, has that affected you, having your dads not around, like, during crazy times, during holidays, during traveling? Like, what is that? And you happen to be younger.
Yeah.
Much younger. 12?
13.
13?
Yeah.
Has that affected you as a man?
Absolutely.
Like,
I would say,
one?
okay. First of all, in a minute, I want to answer my favorite musical moments. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
But we can talk about this. So, okay, there's something going on out there.
Something's funny.
So, yes, it has greatly affected me and how, my existence is, I guess, as a man. I would even say that the passing of my father is what, like, got me into religion. I gravitated towards religion because I was able to find, quote unquote father figures through that, and gravitated towards that, and just wanted somebody to be there, in that position to fill those shoes. And, that was an outlet for it. And, look where that took me, yes, it's greatly affected, like, holidays and, like, family get-togethers. Like, oh wow, there's this huge void, and yeah, that happened a long time ago, and it still affects me every day. I think about it every day. I think about what could be different. What, where would I be if he was still here? All those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I mean, also,
He'd be proud of you.
I know he'd be proud of me.
Your audio and video work you do, I mean.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. I love that so much. Like, I think about that all the time, and that's what kind of pulls me back down to earth. Is I know he's proud of me, and, like, that's a really cool feeling to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I also like to look at it in a positive light too. As hard as that is to do, and as weird as that sounds to say, I learned a lot from that, and I had to grow up really fucking fast.
Oh my, I can't imagine.
I mean, 13 years
And
old.
you're the oldest, right?
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers.
Yeah, you had.
So
They looked to you to be. The
I had to
man
be
of the
dad.
house,
Like,
right?
yeah, and I mean, it was hard on my mom too. I mean, come on, a single mother with 3 kids. Matt can relate to that. He has a single mom. Yeah, it was tough. But I mean, I learned so much. That experience is unparalleled, and there's so many takeaways from that. And I would not be at all who I am today without that.
That's a positive outlook. That's the best way to look at anything.
You have to. You can't harp on the negativity of it.
No.
Sure that is a thing, but
It's not going to change.
It's not going to change. He's not going to come back. You know.
No.
I mean, is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of people focus on that when it comes to really harsh things, breakups, death, job loss, you know, an issue, a fight. They dwell on it.
Yeah.
They focus on it, and they lose sight of what's really going on. How the world's going to keep moving on without you.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to take something. You got to suffer, cry, but you got to take something from it, and you have to learn from it and move on.
Absolutely.
You have to. Yeah. You want to talk about the?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Lighten up
here.
a little bit.
So I think I'm going to start with Towards Zero, Afterglows.
Wow, all three of them.
Yeah.
It was mad. It was. I mean,
It was magic. Lightning in a bottle, man.
It
really was.
It's pretty sick.
to be I mean, there's a lot of people listening or watching that don't know what it feels like to be on a stage with people that you really love and have a musical experience like Afterglows
Yeah.
together. You connect on a different level.
And you don't play music with them.
Yeah.
completely unrehearsed.
Like you two, completely unrehearsed, you two play music together, but you don't play bass and drums
Yeah.
in an environment with new musicians that you haven't rehearsed. Like there's so many
It's
variables.
it's a totally different dynamic. Yeah.
yeah, it just looks.
It's beautiful though.
It's years of playing music,
Yeah.
that skill set. It's looking at each other. It's learning how to read. Steven and I can read each other well. You two can read each other really well. And Yasmin is just a great trained, saxophonist.
Yeah.
So she just fed on top of all of it. It was pretty wild.
Yeah. My second experience would be the recording of our entire record, Good Luck. We did it in 2 studio sessions over like 4 days, I guess.
2 days each.
2 days each. Magical experience. We recorded it all straight to tape. Very minimal tracks. There's, maybe 20 tracks, whatever, each song. And it also captured lightning in a bottle,
Yeah.
truly. Like if you listen to it, it's undeniably moving, and it's a classic.
Yeah,
It's
Good Luck is my. I think I think you and I were talking about it. I mean, it's like the quintessential
Yeah,
album. Like, I mean, that's gonna be
it's so good.
because that was our sophomore studio album.
Yeah.
There's Compadre and then Good Luck, but that was like first one we ever pressed to vinyl. First one we really really did the thing with there's Grammy Award winners on it and
Yeah.
it's to tape and it was just magic.
We also, I feel like we spent hours and hours slaving over those songs, perfecting them and making them what they were.
What order do they go in?
Yeah.
And like, how is that going to be perceived? And
Yeah.
it was a beautiful experience.
It was great. It was
Well, that right there, what you just
fantastic.
named, what you just said, is why, like, when you play a show, why you might be paid a little bit more handsomely. It's like, it's not just, say you got $500 to play a show. It's like, people don't come like, wow, they got $500, they get $250 each. It's like, what about like the 1,000 hours I put in just to make those songs that was never paid for? It was just me in my room,
Yeah.
just going at it.
We paid for it.
You paid for it. You paid a lot of money for it. Yeah, to have the gear, to have the tape, to have the engineers. It's like
Yeah.
you're not just getting paid for that night you're at, Shuba's in Chicago. You're getting paid for all the nights that led to that night.
Yeah.
And it's something that's overlooked, it's underappreciated. Like the value of creativity. Sometimes people get a little excessive with it,
Sure.
aka the multi-millionaires who
Sure.
are just making music. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
it's a little too much money, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
It's
say about
usually
anybody
from
makes
their,
too
like,
much money.
tequila deal.
Yeah.
Or
I'm just like,
Right.
all right.
Nike
I
sponsor.
think $1 million is just great for just playing music. I mean, I don't need 100 million. 100 million's crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's a whole other world. That's a whole other conversation. Anybody who's just overpaid, which is
Sure.
a lot of people. But yeah, it's something that's overlooked. It should be more appreciated. That's something I took into consideration when, the big thing, the DIY scene was like $5 shows.
Right.
I'm like, it's been $5 shows for 35 years. Like inflation exists, people.
Yeah.
It should be 15, but let's just call it 10.
Yeah.
And I got some blowback for a second there, and I was like, screw it. Like, I know math. I know what inflation is.
Yeah.
People need to be paid better. And once people realize that, and bands can come through, and I can, offer a free video for the show, the gear, a crowd, merch table, and maybe give you, $100 each, like each band. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get that at DIY shows.
Yeah.
So I would love to charge, $20 a show, and that's my goal to do that. So
And I think you could. You know, and there's always going to be blowback, and you know, it's hard because money. Again, it's like, does money mean success? I mean, it's tough, but at a certain point, it's like, well, go somewhere else that is going to do this for $20.
Yeah,
you're not going to find it.
No,
I mean, it's not just the 10,000 hours. Especially you get the three of us together. We're at like, I mean, it's 80,000 hours.
We're at a lot of hours.
Too many hours.
Yeah, whatever it is, and it's like,
I stopped keeping track.
You can pay $20, man.
Yeah.
That's my goal. The goal is to have people go into my dream, like the best, most professional DIY show you can have, from the employees to the gear to the environment to the bands to the acts to the, you know, execution of it, and you get what you pay for, and those bands keep going on, and they have money to pay for food or a hotel or fill up their car with gas, and eat some Chipotle, you know.
Amen.
Shout out
Shout
Chipotle.
out. They need to sponsor you guys,
dude.
What are they waiting?
They kind of sponsored us without knowing for a long time.
They did.
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh man,
I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, we would get a bunch of free coupons from like we'd kind of make buddies with like the general manager of a certain location,
and they'd give us like buy one get ones and stuff.
I see what you're saying.
Charm goes a long way.
Charm does go a long way.
It did go.
Yeah,
they don't do that anymore.
They don't do it. I think we're the reason.
Yeah, we should have been flagged. You know,
being just nice.
There's photos of us in the back of every Chipotle, and they're like, do not get these guys free
Matthew
stuff.
McNeal and Andre Black. And you're like, well, lucky for me, my name's Michael, so I can
Michael McNeal.
I can keep getting away with this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of more questions. I know so much about you guys. I'm trying to think of other things that I don't know.
Yeah.
Make it
dig. Try and find
enticing
it
for the listener.
What are you saying? This isn't enticing?
No, it is. It is. I'm trying to be enticed as the host. I'm trying to
Yeah.
What can they tell me I don't know about them?
Is somebody gonna eat this last pineapple?
That's for you.
Eat it.
There's also, so you get the pineapple. We each get a blueberry.
No, you guys have the blueberries.
No, there's two blueberries.
Okay. I got you.
All the fruit is officially.
What are these called again? MRIs?
ASMR.
Yeah. I was like, what were you talking about?
NSA, what's this called again? I love acronyms.
Acronyms are nice.
But I hate when people use them.
Yeah. When somebody actively uses an acronym, that's weird. Come on, don't do that.
Yeah. I don't know, like IRL.
In real life?
Yeah, it took me a long time to figure out that one. I was like, but this is real life.
Do you text with acronyms?
No, never. I don't even say ASAP. I say as soon as you can, as soon as possible.
I say ASAP. See, I'm contradicting what I just said. I use acronyms every now and then, I guess.
ASAP makes sense to do it, but
BTW.
I deliberately don't do it just to prove a point that I'm like, I don't do it. Just to be strict on myself.
Yeah.
BTW?
By the way.
Yeah, I know that one, but I still won't use it.
BBW?
What's BBW?
No, we're not talking about that.
No.
Is this have to do with the grapefruit?
Yes. Yes.
Does it really?
Yes.
Wait.
The person in charge of the demonstration would be considered a BBW.
I know what that is.
Ben, it's okay.
Moving on.
Guys, anybody listening?
Google.
You better have some parameters set up.
Oh my God. What I have a good question. When I first met you guys, you really leaned into the Texas vibe, sound, look,
Yeah.
all that. Maybe not your mentalities.
Yeah.
What the last 6 years has been like a evolution to where you still have that as like a foundation. It's still an undertone, but
Right.
from your music, production, lyrics, fashion, looks,
Yeah.
facial hair, but like everything about it's like kept parts of it, tinges of it, but it has gone to a completely different place. Has that just been going out in the world, growing up, seeing new things?
It's called evolution, Ben. That's what that is.
And we started off that way because we
Yeah.
grew up in like a rural area or whatever, but I mean, both a mix of like rural and urban.
Were there more cows than people where you grew up?
I don't know about that.
I mean, there's a lot of
there's
cows.
a lot of cows. I don't know if there's.
But I mean,
More tumbleweeds.
we had to get our foot in the door. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
no, we did. That wasn't like a conscious choice. We were just like, well, okay, we're in Texas. It's like kind of southerny roots rock Texas kind of thing.
It's cool,
It,
too.
it makes sense, and we always knew it was going to grow. We were never like we're going to be country stars. Never. That was never the intention.
Right.
We just made music. Whatever happened came out, and then I think that's always been our approach, and that's why our sound has evolved. Is because we went more places and we've had more experience. So there's just more to pull from.
Absolutely.
Like it wasn't. There was never like a. Oh, we need to be less this and more this. It's just whatever comes out, comes out.
Our music is very authentic.
Yeah.
It's who we are. You know? We don't, I mean, sure, we do think about it from, are people going to listen to this? You know, is it accessible?
How could you not?
But we're never like, oh, we got to do this specific thing, you know?
That's a good thing, though. A lot of bands get
Yeah.
trapped.
Yeah, it's
into
an
that.
incredible thing.
They're just
More
like,
people should do that.
I wish they would. I hate it when someone gets mad that a band has a new sound.
People are afraid to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you are successful in one place, you notice that's the biggest, stronghold is like being successful in one genre at a certain place in time, and it like sets you off, and you just kind of stay there because like that's what works for me, right? Yeah. That's where I make money,
Yeah.
so I should just stay there
Yeah.
instead of growing. So I love it when people go against the grain or what's expected of them. Whether it's
Yeah.
a director, an actor,
I do too.
an artist of any kind, a musician, I mean, records in particular. I like it when I don't know what I'm listening to if it's different from like a previous record. I don't get mad at it. I don't even judge it. I got to sit with it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like when I've heard your record that's not public yet, but it was different from the other ones. Not different enough to where I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
But it was different enough to where I was like, I just kind of like listened to it driving as just music, as a music listener, as an avid lover
Yeah.
of sound. And, eventually I'm going to listen to it a bunch of times, and then I'll start, picking it apart and going different places with it. But the fact that it was different enough to where I was like, oh, this is like a new thing.
Yeah.
I like it. It's cool that it's going different places. It's really unhealthy to not grow. And not just in art, but as a person in different ways.
It's essential.
The worst thing to hear, and I'm sure you guys have heard it a lot. I mean, I know you have. When you see anybody from the past, high school, old friends, when they go like, oh, like in a negative way, they say like, oh, you changed, or you're different, or like, why don't we do it like we used, like, how come we don't do this anymore? It's like, because I'm 31 years old.
Yeah.
I should not be doing what I did when I was 18. Glad I'm not.
You haven't changed? Like, yeah, that's
not
my
a
response to
good
that.
thing.
Yeah. Like you haven't progressed or
If I'm not a new person every like 3 years, I'm ashamed of myself.
yeah, what are you doing?
You know,
Come on, man.
maybe every 2 years. You have to be in every way. Growth in all directions.
Yep.
Do not lay stagnant. That's how you shrivel up and die on the floor. I mean, it's not a good place to be, and you see that in a lot of adults.
Yeah.
Like, well, why don't we don't do what we used to? It's like, I don't want to be doing that. Like, I need to be progressing. I want to meet new people. I want to do new things, make a new record, go to a new location, try new food, try a new haircut, try a new shirt. I don't know, anything.
Why not?
Watch a new
Yeah.
TV show. I don't have to keep watching reruns.
You only get one of these lives you're living.
That we know of.
That
I
we know
agree.
of, yeah. I
The
mean,
fact that we know of one,
Yeah.
I gotta do something with it.
Yeah.
It's that is what makes it special in itself. The not knowing
yeah.
that there is or isn't a God, the not knowing is this one or two lives,
Yeah. It's
is
beautiful.
a reincarnation. Why do you think there's so many different concepts of our existence? We've been trying to figure this out forever,
Right.
and we have no answer.
It's
to
just
this day.
natural. Yeah.
And the only answer is there isn't one. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, I don't know what time it is.
¿Qué hora es?
It is 4:30. I think we started at like 2:15. I think we're at 2 hours. Over 2 hours.
Oh, nice. Okay.
What time does your family come on with the washer?
Between 5 and 6.
Between 5 and 6. Is there anything you guys want to touch on? Because we're going to, for those listening, we're riffing because
Touching on the mic.
we're going to, Matt and Andre are good friends of mine. I would consider you best friends,
Likewise.
Same.
brothers,
Yeah.
and for life. So we're going to do this forever, like probably all the time. So,
Yeah.
like, whatever
That's
we
what
don't
we've
get
been
now,
doing.
we'll just like,
I mean, we need a biannual podcast episode.
we're gonna do them all the time.
You know?
I mean, in the future, I wanted to do one like sober, but in the future, we'll probably pass a joint.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be really nice.
You know, I wanted to get one in where we're just kind of level.
Yeah, you
yeah.
got to set the tone.
Well, and then we got to, do LSD on the other one.
We'll do some acid. We won't say which one that is. See if the listeners can
I bet
figure
they'll
it out.
figure out.
Guys, they're
'cause-
licking the microphones.
Yeah,
and they're not talking.
6 minutes into it, we're all going to be on the floor.
Oh, that'd be fun though.
Yeah.
Film mount the camera.
We all
like,
get GoPros.
That's the best
Yeah.
part about it, though, is like we won't have to release it if it's too ridiculous.
yeah, we'll just do it.
put it
just
out
do
there,
it.
but no one. Yeah, put it out there, man. Or you make 10 albums a year. Who cares?
Yeah.
But make
So-
10. Whatever.
Is there any things in your guys' life you want to touch on or promote real quick before we end this one?
Listen to Matthew
episode?
McNeal. Follow Matt Black Sound.
Oh, I have one last question.
Do all that.
Yeah.
What prompted or made it be Matthew McNeal and not a band name, not a thing? Just it's your name.
Good
Why
question.
That is a good question. I think it naturally came because I had got I went off to college and I started doing I was just me,
Yeah.
and then I moved I started my first year of college in Denton, where we were on Friday, first year of college there, and then I moved to Arlington, which is in between Fort Worth and Dallas, because a buddy of mine was recording at his house there, and I wanted to do an album. That's where I did When You're Down, and that was under the name Matthew McNeal. And, it made a little bit of buzz in our hometown, because no one else had done anything like that before. And so since that was under Matthew McNeal, we were I tapped Andre, was like, hey, would you want to come, build something out of this?
Yeah.
And the name just stayed.
Yeah.
And
I've also never been one to make a big deal about, oh, it's under your name and I don't get any credit. I don't think about it that way at all.
yeah, well,
I was literally just about to ask you that.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I don't give a shit. You could call it whatever you want. I mean, it's still going to be the same art.
and you also from the beginning, we've realized that, and I mean, this is why Matt Black Sound, another reason Matt Black Sound got started, because we do more than just Matthew McNeal as an artist. It's Andre has 50% writer share of every song.
Yeah.
It's 50-50 always. It's under my name.
So it's just turned into the name is the band.
yeah,
Exactly.
correct.
It's not even that. It's not even your name anymore.
Correct.
It's the band, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why oftentimes friends call me Matt. Professionally, I'm Matthew.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't
music
call you
stuff.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Except for when yelling at you, Matthew,
Yeah.
do your chores. That type of stuff.
But
Stop eating out of the cat's bowl.
the Matthew McNeal stuff is just one of the projects.
Yeah.
The same, and we justified it because we had thought about it. We were like, what do we want to do? Do we want to keep it like this? And we're like, well, for this particular project,
It makes sense.
it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
Tom Petty is Tom Petty. Bob
Yeah.
Dylan's Bob Dylan.
yeah.
Hitler is Hitler.
Jesus.
Christ, really? Damn. It's one way to look at it. But yeah,
Oh, God,
that
bad
was
jokes.
that. And then we'll have, there's 20 other projects, and they have different names. This is just the name of one of them, the one that kind of started it.
Exactly.
It's not the end-all, be-all.
Right. Okay. Thanks for clearing the air. I was concerned there for a while. I was like, I don't know. This guy's, his neck's gonna break. His head's gonna fall off. It's getting big.
Getting so big.
No, I'm kidding.
But, you have the merch table, you got Andre Black buttons. You have shirt designs say
Yeah, I
Matthew
mean,
McNeal and Andre Black on the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's music under my name personally, too. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and we'll be continued to release music under my name. Yeah. It's
There's
not
a bunch
problem.
of stuff.
Yeah.
And it also, look at assistant engineer on anything we've ever done, Andre Black. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah, exactly.
much more to
Right.
everything. My name is just the outward facing one.
Yeah.
Just
It's weird,
because
though, 'cause
happenstance.
With that, what comes with that is not your fault or a problem, but to the layman's ear, they only go by the name. So
Totally.
someone goes oh, Beyonce. It's no one knows about the 1,000 people that make Beyonce pop possible.
Yeah.
Just in her production,
Yeah.
the concerts and the engineers and those writers on everyone from the label. It's insane. When you look at a Wikipedia of a record of that caliber, it's
It's crazy.
the heck? They just went to the zoo and got everybody for this, huh?
Yeah.
But no one knows it. They just know oh, it's just her.
Yeah.
So I always wonder that with someone who's does it by their name, does everything else kind of get left behind? Not left behind, but forgotten or overlooked.
We don't overlook it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we make a
think-
point to highlight it.
Yeah.
Well, because without those people that go unnoticed, like it wouldn't be possible.
That's why we
It's
always
weird.
shout out everybody like Ted Young, everybody that does everything for us, Jessica Thompson. And
Exactly.
so,
It's a weird thing. When it's a human name, we think of a person. But when it's a band, if it's just like the band, say your name was Lizard Pink or something.
Yeah.
And people go, oh yeah, that band's great. And they'd be like, there's clearly other stuff that, like it's other people making all of it happen because it's like, that's what a band is, right? But when it's just the one person, like, oh, Matthew McNeal, he must do everything, right?
Right.
But don't you also, on the other hand, don't you, if a band is named after one person, doesn't it make you look at it differently too? Like you're like we have a very we strive for authenticity and honesty, and I think it's easier to convey that, despite where we blend genres and we don't really pay attention to any of that. But I think you're able to pick up on that like honesty and very forwardness with it being a single artist's name, rather than like if the band was like the Doorknobs.
Yeah.
Which would be very cool.
It's just perceived different.
Yeah, it's just a different
the
thing.
perspective is different.
It is.
And we can,
For some people.
yeah. And the long game is like cool, and then we'll have a band, and it's
Exactly.
Matthew McNeal is in that band.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, that whole career is in that person, and all of Andre Black stuff is in the band. Like
Right.
that. I guess that's what I mean when it's like Matthew McNeal is just one thing out of a lot.
Yeah.
When we think of the big picture, there will be multiple bands that Matthew McNeal is a part of, and just brings in the weight that's been built up on that name. Will be brought into any band that we also do.
Good answer. Family Feud. I would love to be on that show with you guys. I think we'd have way too much fun.
We'd win.
I'd love to meet Steve Harvey. Is he still the host, Steve Harvey?
I think so.
I hope so. His looks are the funniest thing
It's
ever.
hilarious.
When someone gives, I don't know,
Show me,
Do you think-
bra.
do you think that's written, or do you think people really give the bad answers they give?
I think people will surprise
Or
you.
they're just nervous and they're just saying
People
stuff.
want to be on TV, Ben.
Like when I play that game, I'm like, this is so easy.
I would, if
like,
I was on
want to
there,
play this game.
I would come up with the most bullshit, absurd answers.
But yeah, because you're like, I want to be remembered. I got
But-
10 minutes to be here, baby.
But
wouldn't
part
you
of me,
like? It'd be so easy to win that game. I think.
right? Part of me would get competitive,
And it's
wanna
not
win.
being
Yeah.
arrogant or something to think I'm great. Because I'm honest, like I'd be bad at Wheel of Fortune. I think I'd be okay at Jeopardy, but still bad.
You wouldn't
are
get a
s-
chance.
Those are some crazy stuff they ask.
Obscure questions,
So I don't even think I'd be good on that.
Yeah,
But Family Feud, I'm like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Like I would rock this game.
yeah,
I love that game. Every time I play, it's not hard.
yeah.
We should play it.
That'd be fun.
Let's sign up. Let's lie and say we're family.
Well, even if we don't, I'm sure they have a board game, Family Feud. We could do.
I think I have.
I just thought
card
of
game.
a really funny like SNL skit. If you were on the Family Feud, and the names in front, and it's just a bunch of white people like, oh, here are the blacks.
Oh God.
because
his
Andre's last name is
For
Black.
those listening, his
My
last name is Black.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Honestly, people make jokes about it.
Yeah, that's
the Black family.
that's an interesting one to deal with when
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not how I do this.
Yeah, don't say that.
I don't joke like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's interesting. You do have a pretty sweet name though.
That's a badass.
You might
name.
have one of the coolest names, and like Andre Black. What?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Stone Cold Killer, dude.
Yeah.
Matthew McNeil's not too bad. A little Eminem.
That's
Triple
cool.
M, right?
Triple M.
That's a good wrestling name.
It's like Triple H.
It's like triple F's on your
We
hat.
we internally refer to the Matthew McNeil stuff as MM.
M&M's. You get sponsored by M&M. Have a little image of you and Matt on every
We have a
single
buddy
one.
that works for Mars, which is the people that make it.
planet. Okay.
That's why I'm gonna go there when I die. We know a guy up there.
Yeah.
The Mars family.
Mars bars.
God, could you imagine having a whole like conglomerate named after you?
It's crazy.
Like Chase. Like that's a person's last name.
It's also somebody's first name.
Yeah. It's also someone's middle name. Or is it J.P. Morgan?
I think it's J.P. Morgan.
What's
and
Chase come from?
I don't know.
You think Fifth Third someone's last name?
Fifth Third.
I couldn't even get through that one.
Yeah.
We know about Fifth Third Bank.
The fraction makes no sense.
Okay, in what city is it where there's Fifth Third Field?
It's in Ohio.
Ohio? Is it in Dayton or Columbus?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah. We make fun of this all the time when we're on
Fifth Third
tour.
Field.
Yeah.
Fifth Third. Like, really, they couldn't think of a better name?
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of names like that. That's like, what the fuck is that?
Dude, a lot of the stadium, like Minute Maid, it's like, what? That's not threatening. If I went there to play a team, I'd be like, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Minute Maid? Like, kids with juice boxes everywhere? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I like looking at all the gas stations, like regional gas stations.
Oh, yeah. There's someone in
fun.
Oklahoma, I was like, this is great. It was, I don't know what it was, but I've never heard of the name. I wish I remembered
It's
it.
like Robinson's Family Store or some shit.
Stinkies.
It was like Doopy's Doobie or something
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
You know, like,
And
what
it
is
really
this?
is.
It's like a chicken on it. You're
You
like,
got
I
like
don't.
Come and Go, and Sheets,
With a K.
and Casey's General
It's not
Store.
with a C?
No, thank God.
C-U-M.
Thank
and
God
go.
it's not with a C.
That's a
Jesus.
different place.
That's the all brick building with no windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Tom Segura.
I just, in that bit when he's talking about the girl,
Yeah.
that asked was like, I'm as horny, like I'm horny like how guys are, and he's just like,
No, you're not.
no. It is something funny when it's been very rare when I do hear a woman talk about sex and like try to
Yeah.
like get on par with the guys. I'm like, you don't know. You'll
Yeah,
never know.
It's a different thing.
We have different biology. That's how much you'll never know. Just
Creepy
like we'll
little
never know
animals.
what it's like to have a baby and grow it inside of you and breastfeed and to think about that and have that connection to it, the chemical release. Like we can't get on that level like ever.
Right.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Are you an advocate for faux breastfeeding your baby as a man?
What did you just say?
This is a thing.
Is it a thing? I was just
I think it's
kinda
a thing.
asking.
Can you elaborate? I think I know what you're saying, but I want you to.
Well, because you were, I was, it was more so making a joke, but let's see here. So I want everybody to know that Ben is advertising that when he has a child, not only will his partner breastfeed, he will allow the baby to suck his nipple.
So why am I doing this?
Well,
I don't make milk.
Free advertising.
No, well, because it's it's a connection. It's a deeper connection.
It don't work that way.
Well, no, it's not about. It's just about the bond.
I am a person of creativity.
That's a creative approach.
and expression. But let me preface this.
It's an approach.
However, I'm also a big proponent of science, and biology is part of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, I'm not going to breastfeed or faux breastfeed or do that because I don't produce milk, and a baby needs milk.
Do you think you could?
Do you know that men can lactate?
They can, but I probably won't.
Nice. Yeah. It's same. I mean,
I'm assuming I won't.
If you did, would you?
No, because the baby needs the breast milk from the body it's been
But
getting
what if
it
she
from.
wasn't there? It had to be you. Would you
She
do it?
died?
this is a huge hypothetical
if she-
situation.
If she died, I guess I'm going to use a formula.
Yeah.
There's no formula.
Yeah. The formula was thrown out a long
If there's
time
no
ago.
formula and there's no mother and no other woman or anybody else can breastfeed, then sure, I'll breastfeed my baby.
Nice.
All right, there's the sound bite we were looking for.
All right.
That's how it's going to be promoted. Yes, I'll best feed the breast of my baby. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
That was good.
Well, that shows a lot of character.
I mean, I'll do anything, but if I don't have to, because I probably shouldn't, then I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. There's very obvious things that work in biology, but it's also like gender and sex are very interesting things because there's spectrums across it. There's anomalies.
Everything's a spectrum.
Yeah.
It's not nothing is really binary in this life.
No. Even your actual. There's so many. It's rare because there's genetic mutations, but it's not like it's looked at as a bad thing. But there are X chromosome XY, but there are also anomalies of XX, X, XXY, Y, XX,
Yeah.
different combinations. People who are being ambiguous with their genitalia. So there's a lot of things, but it's a bell curve. So like on average,
Right.
statistically, you're going to get mostly a penis and a vagina and mostly heterosexual tendencies
Yeah.
because that's how we reproduce. But that doesn't take into account into account all the anomalies that happen through genetic mutations. Like the surgery I had to have, that's because of genetic mutation. Like my soft spots close up too early.
Yeah.
I should be dead. Like there's other things. My brother born without thyroid. He should be dead, but he takes Synthroid and he has for 33 years. So it's like, because of that, technology's found ways around it, but I don't even know where I'm going with this.
I think you were trying to justify breastfeeding your child.
This whole thing has been a bit, actually.
Breastfeeding. It's interesting. I wonder why some women decide not to, and they do formulas like earlier than they should.
I think some people don't produce.
Yeah,
I have no room
I have
to
no
talk.
idea. Yeah,
I don't have room to talk, but we have room to have a conversation.
To speculate. My guess is it's got to take something. How do you, you know what I mean? It's a commitment. Some people, maybe their body doesn't function in that way.
Yeah. I think there's a myriad of choices, I'm sure, that cause it or, don't cause it.
Man, we do have it easy, don't we?
Men are just the fucking farts of the earth.
Women,
we just dick off all the time.
Shout out to women. I mean, women make the fucking world go around.
They do.
And
absolutely. We're literally just told to insert and release, and
then just be a big dumb fuck walking around. That's all men are.
Like what he says in the tape is all you gotta do is, he's like, there's some things you gotta do. Just don't abandon your kid.
Yeah,
that's it.
And
that's
there you go.
And
that's
you're a cool dad.
thing.
You're a cool dad. Like, my dad's around.
Yeah.
He didn't leave me. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more things, but yeah,
it's crazy.
We
Women
got it
are the
made in
best
shade.
thing.
The only caveat is of what we don't have made in the shade. It's mostly been just societal pressures of you better work yourself to death.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not a man. You're
it's a construct.
I don't give a shit about that's the same people trying to guilt you and shame you into going and giving 10% every Sunday.
No, I agree with you. I'm saying, but that's been a lot of men have fallen into that.
Every
they,
man
literally killed themselves because of it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that it's no, you don't have to do that. That's the whole thing was why are you wearing girl colors? Or why are you wearing pink? It's dude, these are all constructs. These colors.
Yeah.
Man, I can't even. You don't even know.
can't see.
Jesus. Yeah. I like pink.
I like
cool.
pink.
I'm wearing pink right now.
It's like a coral pink. Yeah.
It is nice.
I don't know. We're just riffing.
I dressed like Ben for this podcast for those of you watching.
But did you because you own that shirt?
He owned it because of you.
Well, see, yeah, as I was putting this on, I was like, I think I just kind of dress like Ben anyway. I mean, I probably, with this shirt, I wouldn't wear, I'm wearing short shorts, like athletic shorts, but I probably wouldn't do that. But, whatever.
I see what you're doing. And the sandals?
And I got sandals on.
Oh, you're hitting
like
it.
Ben.
Why is it that so many men don't wear sandals?
It's only in this part of the world.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I've had friends say I when I see sandals, I just think of you. You're the only one I know who wears sandals. What do you mean? No one else is hot and wants to have their feet breathe because it's July and it's 90 degrees out.
I think it depends on what you're doing. Obviously,
it's just always
you're not going to mow the yard in sandals.
Done it, don't do it.
Yeah, it's dangerous, but
It hurts.
you're not going to go hiking in sandals. But I mean,
Done it, don't do it.
But yeah, like people that have a problem with it, that's weird. Come
People
on,
have a problem with anything that harms nothing.
dude. Don't.
Why are you-
Don't paint your toenails. Your toenails were painted when we met.
Oh yeah, all the time. I used to do it on purpose. I'd come back from camp.
I think it's
Christian
cool.
camp. I'd have the girls paint my nails just to upset my parents.
Heck yeah.
Rebellious.
To come back from a Christian camp with painted nails is the best. They're just so confused. They're like, "Did you have fun praising? What's on your? What'd you do to your nails?"
Yeah, Mom, I got into Satanism.
Jesus painted my nails. What are you talking about?
Jesus painted my nails as a euphemism for something. Could be.
It's got to be. I love the crazy sexual euphemisms and things that no one actually does, but they're like, dude,
Yeah.
would you ever get like this? And you're like, what? Yeah, it's when she does this, this, and that too. And you're like, no one's done that.
I think you can do that.
Hey, man, some people done some crazy shit.
Yeah.
They have
true.
literally like shitting on people.
I've seen it.
That's a weird one.
I'm kidding.
Bodily
Come on.
fluids. You're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, don't do that. That's
Don't be pooping on people.
Don't
weird.
be pooping on people. That's how we gotta end it because
Dude,
that's
it's
how we're ending it.
poop.
The pooping rap you did.
we started it with poop, and we're gonna end with
Right.
poop.
All right.
It is the answer to everything.
Poop.
Yeah.
It happens. Shit happens.
Nice.
The world's a crappy place.
Yeah.
I feel like poop. Babies poop.
I'm gonna throw up.
I'm gonna throw up.
Incredible.
The world is now dumber for listening to this podcast.
Now they learned something along the
They
way.
gotta learn something. All right. Plug your stuff, boys. Plug anything you need to. Anything. All of it. Whatever you want. Tell the world where to go.
Shout out Matt Black Sound, MATTE Black Sound. Find us anywhere on social media. Go to the website. Keep up with all the cool stuff we got going on. Listen to Matthew McNeal. It's on anywhere you stream music. Order it on our website if you want the physical copy. We got vinyl.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. If you need, audio production services.
If you like the sound of this podcast,
This is going to be the best sounding podcast, by the way, because it's all three of us on the SM7
With cloud
lifters.
Yeah, yeah.
In a pretty decent acoustically sound room.
Yeah.
We're good. All right. Well, Matt, Andre, it was good to see the both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for hosting me in Studio B
Yeah.
of Matt Black Sounds.
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Whoa. I didn't know what that was.
Let's all try doing it. Let's end it on that. Ready?
Let's all get a breath and do it at the same time and see if we can make a really... Ready? Okay, hold on.
Incredible.
That's what they pay the money for.
By the way, for the promotional clip on Instagram, it's going to be that. It's not going to be anything.
Nice.
It's like a drone sound.
I love it.
That's Afterglow's 2021.
Yeah,
That's how we do it now.
We couldn't do Afterglow, so we just blew into a bunch of bottles into microphones.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you too.
You guys are the best. Keep doing what you're doing. You always amaze me. You always impress me. You always inspire me.
Likewise.
You always keep me going.
Likewise.
See you guys. See you.